Hello and welcome back to another episode of the SportsRunDown Betalong. Just came on there with the microphone turned off and nearly made one of those Zoom clangers. How are you getting on tonight, Gary?
Yeah, good. I'll be buzzing for tonight now. Nice, busy schedule. So yeah, looking forward to hopefully landing some bets.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it now. A great kind of spread of games.
Yeah. We've got the championship games. We've got the game in France, which is going to be our main game in Ligue 1, PSG versus Lille. That's obviously the past two champions in France playing each other. So big game, big rivalry. We've got like the final night of the first division in the League of Ireland, and then in the Premier Division of the League of Ireland, there's I think Shamrock Rovers can win the league tonight. But there's a lot of action at the bottom of the table there with Waterford, Finn Harps and Dundalk all fighting it out to avoid that relegation playoff spot. So there's a lot of meaningful games, which usually doesn't happen in the middle of October. So good to see.
Yeah, great time to get them. I think if Waterford win tonight, they'll be looking pretty rosy. They need to be very unlucky in the last two games to get into that playoff spot. So I'm hopeful that it goes our way tonight. And then, like you said, then that French game is a huge one. I'm surprised it's actually on a Friday night and not a Sunday night, but we'll gladly accept it. And then a mid-table clash in Belgium that I'm looking forward to. That I don't think not going to catch many people's eyes, but it should be a good game. Oostende and Mechelen, and then we've got a Bundesliga match that Slats will talk us through very, very shortly. So. Before we dive into that, so anyone who's new to the show, thanks for joining us. Anyone who's a regular viewer, welcome back. The bet along, we take whatever games are on tonight, we watch them live, we bet on them live. But part of it is what we call the live action ACCA. So this is published on Sports Rundown earlier in the week. We put the bet on ourselves, so we call it We Bet You Win. So we've backed this 10-1 treble tonight. We'll talk you through it very shortly. But the most active and engaged people in the comments, either on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, We'll win that bet. So if we've put a tenner on it, if it wins, it's £100 and we'll give it to you and whoever's the most engaged in the comments, provided obviously that the bet does come in. So my bet is Oostende Mechelen. That's a 7:45. Gary, you've got QPR Nottingham Forest. That's also 7:45. And Slats has Hoffenheim Hertha Berlin, which has just kicked off a couple of moments ago. So just to get the selection out there so there's no accusation of aftertime, and Slats has gone with Hoffenheim to win and over 2.5 goals at 13-10. Now he'll talk you through the details on that very, very shortly. Before we do that, Gary, do you want to give us a quick rundown of your bet, QPR, Nottingham Forest?
I can, yeah. So essentially, I've gone for, like, both of these teams are in really good form, especially Forest. So Forest sacked their manager, Chris Hughton, probably about 6-7 weeks ago at this stage. And since then, they've gone on a really good run. They've been winning most of their games up until last week when they lost against Nottingham Forest. But before that, as I said, that was the first loss in the new manager Steve Cooper's reign as manager. So but in their games there's been lots of goals. So they just seem to be scoring at will since Cooper has come in. So they were pretty defensive under Hughton, but that has kind of flipped on its head. And then QPR are kind of the same. They're on a decent run of form. they score a lot but concede a lot. I think 11 out of their 18 games this season has seen over 2.5 goals. And then a lot of the other games have had 2 goals scored. There's 5 of them have had just a bare 2 goals scored. So instead of delving into the win-draw-win market, where I think either team could win it and the bet could be dead, after probably 15, 20 minutes if it goes the wrong way, I've gone for over 2.5 goals because I can't see it being a 0-0. So yeah, over 2.5 goals was the bet to me there, and 10 to 11 just seems like a really big price.
Yeah, I really like that one. It you put out a good case for it. So just to run through my one then as well, it's a very similar one, similar kind of logic, but I've gone the opposite way. So you've gone away from the win-draw-win. I quite like Mechelen to win this game. They're 8-5. The goals, I really do like the goals in it, but the prices are just so bad. It's 1-2 for over 2.5 goals, and it's also 1-2 for both teams to score, so not really worth it. The logic in this one is pretty straightforward. It's just that they're close in the table, but Oostende won their games early, and they haven't really won much since. I think they've no win in their last, or 1 win in their last 6. But on top of that, the problem is that they really only beat the teams below them. So, I mean, I think of their 17 points, 9 have come from the teams in the relegation zone. So they don't really trouble the better teams. And Mechelen, they had a very, very poor start to the season. They won their first game, and then they only won 1 of the following 6. But now, since then, they've won 4 and drawn 1 in their last 5, and they look an awful lot sharper. I mean, they have a much better squad than Oostende. They just started very poorly. So I think the win there is a good price. And yeah, that's where I'm going with that one. So, yeah. I'm going to just get some technical issues sorted here, Gary. So I'm going to hand back to you to just talk through your same game multi in the PSG match.
Yeah, so our kind of feature game tonight is PSG at home to Lille. So as we said earlier on, that's a massive game, the past 2 champions in France. So I've gone with Jose Font to be, this is a kind of a pot shot bet builder, but I actually think it has a decent chance of coming in. So Jose Font to be shown a card. I think Jose Font is about 60 at this stage, so he's going to be up against the PSG attackers, having the likes of Neymar, Messi, Di Maria running at you for 90 minutes. I can see him being carded. So I think he was 7-5 that had to go in. Di Maria likes a pot shot from outside the box. He was around 6-4. So again, I thought he was a decent price. All of the other kind of top stars for PSG were priced odds on. So I think like the likes of Messi was 8-11 for 2 shots on target. Neymar was something similar. So given that Di Maria will be, in with a shout at taking the odd free kick from outside the box, and he's going to be in midfield and having pot shots, as I said, he looked like a good bet. The turns into end-to-end encounter. The corners always have a chance, so I've gone with the over in that. Again, it was priced nearly 2-1, so I had to kind of put it in. It was very tempting. And then probably the wild card and the one that has the chance to let the bet down is Jonathan David, who plays for Lille, and he's had 10 shots on target this season. He's kind of gone under the radar, so a lot of people would have looked to Yilmaz, the kind of main striker for Lille. He's had the same amount of shots on target as Jonathan David this season. I said, like, if you look at Kylian Mbappe, I know Mbappe isn't playing tonight, but if you look at Mbappe in the whole season, Mbappe has only had 15 shots on target. So David coming into this game obviously likes a shot. He scored, I think, 4 goals this season already. So I had to put him in. That fourfold pays 75-1 or just over 75-1. So yeah, I'd be happy if it goes close.
Yeah, you list out all the individual legs and it just sounds so achievable. And then you hear 75-1. It's a huge price. Slats, you with us now, so welcome aboard. Do you want to give us a quick rundown to put you on the spot straight away now that you're here about the Hoffenheim Hertha Berlin game?
No, you're grand. Yeah, sound. It's already kicked off, so it's probably worth talking through it before any goals go in or that. We don't want to look like we're after timing. Obviously, it's up there on the website with as part of the live ACA treble. So yeah, it's the Hoffenheim Hertha Berlin game in the Bundesliga, and I mentioned in the article, like, it's one of those ones that at a glance, you kind of think it's going to be a close game, and I was kind of thinking a score draw might be the way to go. they're, like 10th and 11th in the table, and they both have a pretty decent run of form behind them. But it's one of those ones when you kind of dive into those stats a bit deeper. Hoffenheim have, they've won 3 of their last 6, but they've won their last 3 consecutive home games with a cumulative score of 13-2. Like, they've just been blitzing teams at home. Whereas Hertha have won 4 of their last 6, but the 4 wins came against, 4 teams, I think, like, 16th, 17th, 18th, and 20th or something along those lines. 4 of the bottom teams of the table, basically. So their form is completely affected by having much easier games. I think they're going to have a tougher time facing Hoffenheim tonight, and I would expect Hoffenheim to go on and win the game. I was thinking of doing the win in both teams to score, but I'm actually, when I did look into that detail, I think it's more likely for Hoffenheim to win 3 or 4-0 than, the value you get for them to win 2-1 or 3-1, which will still win the bet for what I've gone with, which is Hoffenheim to win and over 2.5 match goals. So there's, the odds are less. It's 13-10. You could do better if you went for both teams to score and Hoffenheim to win, but I just think there's value there and a bit more safety just in case Hoffenheim did dominate the game.
What was the both teams to score, win and both teams to score price?
It was closer to 2-1. It wasn't quite 2-1, but it was about, I don't remember exactly, maybe 7-4 or something like that.
Okay, so a bit higher. Yeah, some games it's really higher, and some games it's just a little bit higher. So you kind of got to take.
Yeah, I guess it kind of depends. I mean, if you have someone like Man City at home to whoever,
Arsenal,
Arsenal, then like there's a much higher chance of it being 5-0, 6-0, 7-0 than 2-1 or 3-1. So the both teams to score, you're getting much better value on. But a game like this, I kind of do expect it to be both teams to score, but I just said I'd, stick with you know what? I mean, about 80% of it is because I had Hoffenheim Cologne on our treble a few weeks ago, and Hoffenheim beat them 5-0, and I kind of got a bit burnt by doing Hoffenheim and both teams to score on that one. And
I'm still having withdrawal symptoms with that.
I think just from being burnt by that, I said I'd go with the safer option. Obviously, it would have walked in that game if I'd gone Hoffenheim and over 2.5. So that's probably part of it too.
I feel like it's always the wrong call when you make those type of changes between both teams to score and over 2.5.
Yeah,
it's invariable.
Yeah, well, this is just a safer version because obviously you can't have both teams to score and a win without it being over 2.5 goals. So, it's not. If I'd gone for over 3.5 instead of both teams to score, expecting to be 4-0 or 5-0, and then it ended up 2-1. Yeah, you'd be burnt by going against what you kind of thought yourself. But no, here it's just going for a safer version, so the both teams to score and win will still win it for us.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's about to kick off here in Belgium, so that's the game I'm going to be watching, guys. I'm going to be watching Oostende against Mechelen. Gary, you're going to be watching which game?
I'm watching QPR Forest, and then when PSG starts, I might flick that on as well. But main game QPR Forest.
Okay, so lads, I take it you'll be keeping an eye on the odds more than anything, but determining the Bundesliga game will be.
Yeah, I mean, I have it up here on Betfair, so I'll be watching it away in the background. But I'm going to look for a few in-play bets as well while I'm at it, so I won't be putting all my attention into it this early in the game.
Yeah, we've had a few streams and few shows where all the games kick off around the same time, and we have like a half-time period in the show. And then other weeks we have it like this, where it's 7:30, 7:45, and 8, and it's just a complete kind of straight flow, straight through. So plenty of opportunities for in-play betting. So anyone who's new to the show, who hasn't seen us before, we've picked up an awful lot of big price winners in play. So we actually had a 40-1 treble. We've had a lot of double digits, 12-1, 14-1 kind of bets. And then even last week we had a couple of 7-1s in that kind of price range. So really good profit if you've been backing with us in play throughout the last couple of weeks or any time this season, really. So make sure to pay attention, and we'll call out the bets as we're putting them on. And then obviously, hopefully you can get on them as well and make a bit of money. But let us know in the comments what games you're watching, what bets you've got on, any questions you might have, whether they're about the live games or just anything in general. We'll make a huge effort to get back to everybody on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And like we said at the start of the show, anyone who is the most engaged in the comments has a chance to win the bet. So that's the treble we've just talked through, which is Mechelen to win, goals and Hoffenheim to win, and then goals in the QPR Nottingham Forest game. So if that does come in, we'll give that to one of the most engaged viewers in the comments. And I've just seen here we've got Sufain in the comments has gone, "Sup guys, how are you all doing? We're doing very well." I've got a bit of a nasally sound voice today. That's another thing for anyone who's not new to the show, is the awful pronunciations we make absolutely everything this week. So yeah, we're doing good. What game are you watching? Let us know what game you got on or what game you're interested in, and we'll chat away about those.
Or if you're betting on a game as well, what sort of bets you're looking at?
Yeah, exactly.
Sofian, I just asked you a question as well there. It'll be FC Emmen. Do you think it's realistic for over 2.5?
Well, I think I'm going to defer this to Slats because he's our Dutch football expert.
It might come my way.
Yeah, I wouldn't dare speak ahead of our Dutch football king. But
I'm just looking at the stats of it here. Like, it's going into half time and it's 0-0, and there hasn't been a shot on target yet. In any other game outside of the Dutch 2, I'd be staying well clear of over 2.5. But the Dutch second tier, we've spoken about it plenty of times before, that you can have a quiet first half and a goal-orama. It could be over 2.5 by 60 minutes. The way we've seen some Dutch games going, but I don't know. I'd still like 2-1 for 3 second half goals. It's a little risky, I guess. I wouldn't, if I already had the bet on, I wouldn't be fretting yet. I'd be still pretty hopeful that the second half will come to light. But if I was picking a bet at halftime to get on now, I wouldn't be going at that match. I wouldn't be going on it for.
That's a politician's answer. If you have the bet on already, we like the bet. But if you don't do it.
Well, actually, do you know what? Looking at the Graafschap ADO Den Haag, and God forbid my pronunciation of that as well, it looks like it's also 0-0 at halftime, and it looks like it's been much livelier. There's been like 13 or 14 shots, plenty of them on target, and the Graafschap are big home favourites there, so they've been dominating. So I would fancy over 2.5 in that game. It's not quite as good. It's 13-8 as opposed to 2-1. But if I was going to pick a Dutch game now for over 2.5 goals, that would be it. And I'd nearly back the Graafschap and over 2.5. And let me see if I can get odds of that up.
So Sofian saying he had the bet on already, Slats, but he agrees that it's very risky. So if you have the bet on already, as you said, those Dutch games can just explode in the second half. So
yeah, I genuinely wouldn't be worried like the way I would be if it was another game. Any over 2.5, you're hoping for at least one first half goal. You don't want it 0-0 half time and then need all 3 in the second half. But yeah, the Dutch second tier is definitely a league that you don't really need to worry about it this early. Even if there's one goal in by 60 minutes, you could be comfortable enough that you get another 2 in the last half hour. That's how I'd be looking at it.
Sofian, you can rest easy now for the next few minutes, knowing that you're currently in the lead in our quest to win the live action ACCA. So just for anybody who's just joined, so we have our bet on tonight, the treble. If it lands, we'll give it away to whoever we think has been either the most interactive with us or has had the best interaction with us. So Sofian,
speaking of which, Hoffenheim have just taken the lead in the treble, so that's good. Yeah, we have them to win in over 2.5, so there's a goal there 20 minutes in, and they have the lead, so that's a very good start for that bet anyway.
Yeah, that's exactly what we wanted. So Sofian, €114 or your currency equivalent could be making its way to you at the end of the show. So keep commenting in, and if you like what we're doing, make sure to subscribe. You can see you're on YouTube, so subscribe on YouTube. If you're one of the people watching on Facebook or Twitter, give us a like or a follow on those platforms as well if you like what we're doing.
Yeah, sounds good, Gary. You got a couple of games. You got FC Emmen 2.5, Volendam to win and 2.5, Hoffenheim and 2.5. Oh, sorry, just Hoffenheim 2.5 goals. It looks like no win there, and Trabzonspor to win. I have a feeling, was that game earlier? That Turkish game? I'll check this live score here. That game would have been earlier on today. Hopefully, it's a win in the bag.
No, it's on at the moment, but it's 87 minutes and they're winning 2-1. So
it's
looking good.
because I always, when we're lining up the descriptions for these shows and getting everything set together, I always see the Turkish games, but then I always see that they're, they start at least an hour too early for us. So
yeah, like that would have been what, a 6 p.m. Irish time kickoff, 6 p.m. GMT.
Yeah,
so that was a bit early for us.
That'll be a great win if that comes in, because they were losing 1-0 after an early penalty, and now they're back to 2-1. So 2-1 up from 1-0 down. So that'll be great. You liked and sub, yeah, really appreciate that. Hopefully you're enjoying the show. Stick with us and keep chatting away. We love these conversations with fellow bettors. So yeah, really appreciate the follow and the like, and yeah, keep those comments and questions coming. My own bet tonight, by the way, I don't want to get accused of any aftertime in here. I did say it off air to the guys, but I've done another both teams to score and win bet. So I have Waterford, PSG, Hoffenheim, and QPR. So the 4 of them to win and both teams to score in all those games. I think it's about 300 to 1. So it's obviously a huge long shot, but I just had to leave the Belgians out of it because of the heartbreak we had here a couple of weeks ago on the show.
Yeah, I know you say that, but what was the last one? Was it 500 to 1? The last one that let you down by one goal that should have been scored as well.
No, it was a little bit lower. I think it was about 200. But
okay.
Yeah, so that game we had only
200.
Well, 0 is what I got from it, so it feels like still feels like an only. But yeah, that was the needed Bruges to concede and win in that fourfold, and I just don't know how they did not concede a goal or even give away a penalty. But we won't harp on about it. But yeah, optimistic about it. Obviously, the juiciest part of that is Waterford. It's 8 to 1 or even 9 to 1 now. I've seen, so that kicks off. That's just kicked off actually. Need them to win.
They're big underdogs for the win there without both teams to score anyway, aren't they?
Yeah, about 4 to 1, depending on when in the week.
5.5 to 1. I'm seeing them on Betfair now. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So big underdogs, but I mean, against the teams at the lower end of that league, Waterford do very well. Certainly, they have done since they changed their manager. So I think.
And one thing you could say for it as well is, like, if they do go on to win that game, it wouldn't be surprising if they concede a goal along the way too. Like, so, even though they're underdogs, it does kind of fit the both teams to score angle anyway.
I've backed on Waterford with just on the straight. I think it was 9 to 4 or 9 to 2. I got them at as well, but I'm a bit concerned about the Dundalk pitch for them. Do you know, that pitch is kind of an AstroTurf, fully AstroTurf pitch. It can kind of be a specialist's pitch. I've been there to watch a few games, and the kind of opposition defenders or the away team defenders, they can't judge the bounce of the ball and things like that because they're used to, maybe a soggy bounce on grass, but this just takes an extra hop or whatever. So that'll be my only worry with it. But there's a lot of juice in the price, so it had to be taken.
Yeah, we actually went to a game there together, Gary. I'm not sure if you remember when you were bringing me on my Shelbourne League of Ireland road tour back in the day.
Yeah, how could I forget?
Yeah, the eyes is like, what is he talking about? Right, yeah, it's a little bit quiet in this German match, Slats, from what I'm seeing of it. But it hasn't kicked off in Belgium. That's why I've been slow to delay in Belgium yet again.
We've seen a good few delays in Belgium, yeah. Just to confirm, I've backed the Graafschap to win and over 2.5 goals. So that's gone to half time now, 0-0. But there's been 5 shots on target and 11 shots off target, and the Graafschap have had the lion's share of those too. So it's, even as a 0-0, I just think there's good value in expecting that to come to life in the second half and expecting them to win. The German game, I haven't paid too much attention to it, to be honest, because I was looking at what else was going on out there. But yeah, based on the stats here, there hasn't been a whole lot of. I think there's just been one shot since the goal, and not a whole lot of attacks or action really by the look of it. But it's early yet, so happy enough that if they sit in that 1-0 lead for a while.
Yeah, makes sense. Into the last minute in that Turkish game, by the way, so hopefully they can just hang on and see this one out. And hang on implies that they're under pressure, but hopefully they can just see it out.
Yeah, well, there was 5 minutes injury time in that, so there's still about 3.5 of that left. And based on the shot stats, both sides have had 16 shots, so it does look as if they've dominated all the other stats really. But you'd certainly be edgy going into injury time just with a goal up, and that it'll be a relief for the final whistle there, I'm sure, to get that act up and running.
Oh yeah, you just mentioned that Trabzonspor and Volendam were both 1-0 down, so yeah, it would have been an awful start to the debate there. By the way, a quick question for you in the comments. Is that an ACA you've got on, or are they all individual bets, or is it a combination bet or a multiple or whatever people call it these days? I'm curious if it's just you need all of them to win, or is it just individual bets?
I assume it's a kind of accumulator / parlay, but yeah, let us know whether you've done them individually as well, or maybe a lucky 15 or something like that.
I'm happy to see that you've gone with the Hoffenheim and over 2.5 as well. That's given me more confidence of my pick there anyway.
It's always good to see
checking out SportsRunDown.
What's that, Gary?
So he was obviously checking out SportsRunDown earlier on.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, at the moment, really, it is just that Emmen pick. If that is an accumulator, Combi, as he's confirmed, €10 stake to win 85. Nice. Yeah, let's hope Emmen get the second half started brightly now and a couple of goals there, and you'll be well on your way.
Yep. It's kind of quiet now in the QPR game. It started off really, really lively. Forest could have been 1-0 up in the first kind of 45 seconds. But it was an injury, and that kind of took about 2 minutes for the player to get, the medics on and things like that. So he's kind of been dead since it restarted, but fingers crossed he can get a goal soon. It's always nice to get one in early when you have those over 2.5.
The way you see that game going, Gary, who would you like to score first to kind of liven things up, or does it matter?
So I think QPR kind of only have one way of playing. I don't think they're going to be able to shut up shop from what I've seen of them this season. So I kind of like QPR to go 1-0 up because I think they'll keep attacking to go 2-3-4 up. And Forest are decent on the break as well. So probably QPR, but neither team are great at defending, which is why I really went for the over 2.5. So
yeah, I'd usually be leaning toward the away underdog. To get the first goal in a game like that, it's rare enough that you'd be hoping that the home favourite does it.
But, yeah, so would I, lads.
The logic is there. Of course, there is going to be occasions where it's different.
Just two things. We got more comments in. So you're saying that it was a deal to deposit 30 to get 10 free. So that's actually, I'm not sure if that implies that you're sort of new to sports betting, but if you are, that's quite an adventurous bet to do if you're quite new to it. So I'd be very curious about that. And then you ask us, what do we think the trickiest league is? So I presume you mean trickiest in terms of betting. And for me, definitely the most difficult league to bet on is the Premier League, because I have my own personal biases, so I can't seem to clear them out and look at the games objectively. But then for me, definitely La Liga, Spanish football is by miles my worst. I actually have a pretty impressive record of having never won a bet on Spanish football, so I don't do it anymore.
Yeah, I don't think I'm that far behind you, to be honest. Until Savage, so again, just for your knowledge, Sofian, on the website SportsRunDown.com, we kind of have individual experts for the different leagues, and we have a Spanish expert who gives good insights into La Liga. So until this season, when Savage has started those, I said I don't think I ever got a Spanish bet up, and I've landed a few this season because of Savage, but lifetime, it's definitely my worst league for betting, and I can't. You bet on goals and it ends 0-0.
Yeah.
You bet on corners, there's no corners. And in recent years, there hasn't been any value in back in Barcelona or back in Real Madrid, because they've always been 2-7 or something like that. So La Liga is definitely for me.
I can see you're saying Brazilian football has let you down a fair bit, and I can definitely concur on that one. I'm not sure if it's the same for you, but I go into those games and I find some of them can be 5-2 or 6-2 or something, tons of goals, and you could back a winner. And then, when you finally actually hop on one, it ends up being 0-0. It's one of those leagues where it can just be extreme 0-0s or 1-0s, and then these 5-1s or 7-2s and things. And I
always find as well,
wrong side
with the Brazilian football, it's the time of the night that it's on for us. It's usually quite late. I mean, I'm not thinking my clearest at that stage of the day then, and making wild bets that don't seem to come good.
It's certainly the case when you've had a good day of betting and you're just trying to keep the buzz alive. You're trying to maximize your day from the gambling, and it all just goes horribly wrong on the South American football.
That's the very optimistic version of it. You've had a bad day and you're trying to make up for it by
That's exactly what I was thinking. It's never a problem when you've had a good day. It's a problem when you've had a bad day. Not that we'd encourage stuff like that.
Yeah. What about for you, Sufyan? What's your toughest league or your least profitable or least enjoyable league to watch or bet on? You said there that Spanish football is tricky, yeah.
And the Brazilian was mentioned as well there.
Yeah. I often find as well, it's certain very popular leagues, you get worse odds. So, I mean, we saw it a couple of years ago with the website with SportsRunDown.com, betting on the Serie A before the Italian team started doing well in Europe again and kind of had its resurgence a bit, and you got great prices. But now the odds are all as poor as they are in England. Really, there's just no value to bet there at the minute. So, kind of goes in swings and roundabouts a little bit. But speaking of the La Liga and our La Liga expert Savage, we've got his article from during the week up on the screen. He had a great one there for Barcelona to not win that game. So I backed them. I backed Rayo double chance myself, but they were a huge price to win and ended up winning 1-0. So if you're interested in Spanish football, it's definitely worth keeping an eye on his series of articles. They're very good insights.
It's mad Falcao getting the goal as well. Like,
yeah, I thought I
just
kind of thought he's gone
around after all his injuries.
Yeah. We have another comment there. You put your Brazilian bets on before you go to sleep and then see what's up in the morning. Yeah, I've had that feeling before as well. You wake up and look and you think, oh no, my balance has not increased since I went to bed.
It's an instant way of finding out. Just going, nah, didn't win.
Yeah, just refresh the page if you mustn't have updated, even though the match has been over for about 6 hours.
I don't know if you find this, but it's always the first indication to me is like when I wake up in the morning and check my balance, if I have a bet running, if it's on an exact number, like 40 quid or 50 quid or 60 quid exactly, that means my bet is lost. But if it's like 138.57 or 163.29, it means the bet has come in because there's going to be some, like loose change along with it. But
that's those late bets.
Bring it down to an even number.
Yeah, those late bets, that's what I'll do. Like if I have 47.50, I'll put 7.50 on the bet. Like I'll always put the kind of change number. So then you'll know then, yeah, nice round one left. It's not gone well.
No.
Yeah.
It looks like Belgium throw this Hoffenheim game back on. They've had a good few opportunities now in the last 10 minutes, but I haven't actually been watching the game. So I'm going to put it back on now.
Yeah. The Belgian game is a few minutes in there, 3-4 minutes on the clock, and pretty much gone the way we've expected it. So, I mean, I don't know if Oostende have even had the ball yet, to be quite honest. It's entirely been Mechelen. They've only managed one shot, but it's 3.5 minutes on the clock. But promising start there. The odds have changed drastically. Now they're into 11-10, and Oostende are out to 2-1 after just 3.5 minutes of play. So, at least a bit of reassurance there that we got the call right.
I think Paul Kelly is agreeing with you, lads, in terms of the betting patterns, with his account going from even to uneven when he wins a bet versus when he loses.
It's always the way. You want to see that, that odd number with a few cents at the end of it that you've got some return.
Yeah, that Trabzonspor game is over, by the way, 2-1. So you've got a win ticked off already. Stop describing your betting, Paul. It's exactly we know how that goes. On the same boat myself. Almeria to win, so that's in the Spanish second division. I don't want to know what I think about that because it's almost certainly going to be wrong. I won't even share my thoughts. Yeah.
To be fair, I couldn't make any call on that.
Yeah, that I assume that bet is not in your accumulator because you or is it? You just didn't mention it in the earlier part, or is it just its own bet? I'm very poor with the Spanish football, so I'm going to leave that alone. Apologies, can't give any more information there.
PSG game is suspended. So Yilmaz had a shot on target, but I think it's been pulled back for a foul. The ref has dished out a yellow card. I'm just trying to find out who it's to. He's having a talk with Jose Font, so I'm hoping that it's Jose Font for my bet, but I didn't see. I just flicked on. No, it's not. It's Ronaldo, or EN rather than RON, unfortunately for Lille. So Ronaldo got a yellow card.
Oh, 2-0 Hoffenheim.
Lovely.
Boom, boom.
God,
now that over 2.5 just looks so much better than both teams to score.
Yeah, big time, yeah. Yeah, you've either team any goal.
Sorry, LB, we just had a comment on Facebook that I kind of need your help with. But Giuseppe Vargas has Quien va ganado. I'm assuming that's Spanish.
Who's going to win? I think it might be Italian, but it's more or less the same.
Right.
Who's going to win which game? I actually can't see the Facebook comments here.
He doesn't say which game. I assume he's talking about PSG. So, I mean, if you're talking about PSG Lille, I think PSG will win, but I can actually see Lille putting it up to them. So, if I was to predict the score, I would say 3-1 to PSG. I think Lille will stay in it for a while and then kind of fall away towards the end. If you're thinking QPR and Nottingham Forest, the way it started here, Forest are on top, and you can still get 2-1 about them. So if you were looking to have a bet on that game, I would say Forest in play. But
that's another one. So we're over 2.5 on the QPR game, right? So we'll just be hoping to get one goal in before halftime anyway.
Exactly, yeah, just to keep it ticking along. But
yeah,
it's great to have those 2 goals in Hoffenheim.
Yeah, that's a perfect start there, really. Like, it's, not even half time, they're up 2-0. And like I was saying, they had a lot of chances since, in the last 5 minutes or so. So it looked like that goal was coming anyway. They had a corner just before it and it was cleared. And then, the ball came back down. And it was actually a beautiful shot, kind of toward the edge of the box. And it rattled off the post and came back out and just fell at the feet of another Hoffenheim player, just knocked it into pretty much an empty goal. So
2 things, quick updates. We've got a nice bit of interaction in the comments here. So we've got Sifane and Paul are commenting to each other. So Paul recognized the name there, of course. Almeria very strong at home, should win, I'd say. So appreciate the input, Paul, there. And good for that one there. PSG so tricky to bet on these days. Yeah, I'm not really...
I agree with that. Yeah, I've seen PSG a lot of games where you'd go into it back in PSG to win and over 2.5 or over even 3.5, and then they just win 1-0 or maybe 2-0, and there'd be massive odds on favourites, so they're happy enough they've got the win and maybe won quite comfortably, in terms of possession and dominating territory and that. But I'm sitting there with my last bet because they haven't got over 2.5 goals.
Yeah, I'm more coming at it from the point of Lille winning the league last season. Like, if I was a PSG player, I'd want to kind of lay down a marker and prove a point. So I don't think they will kind of let up. I think they'll want to rack up a score. And I was watching PSG actually do a really good kind of pre-match show. So it's in French and in English. So I tuned into that before we came on air, and they were kind of hinting at the same thing, just being like, this is kind of a grudge match. So that's where my thinking is coming on. But I agree, this season they haven't been the strongest to kind of bet on.
Yep.
Hertha Berlin having a few decent attacks here now. They're certainly kind of trying to fight their way back into this game now. So I guess I'd be happy enough if they scored, even though it makes the win itself a little less likely. But, it'd be good just to get the goals up. Obviously, it'd be the dream for Hoffenheim to go up 3-0 and pretty much have the game wrapped up and the goals in anyway.
Yeah. I just have an awful fear that my bet is going to let this bet down, But I know there's only 20 minutes gone in the game, but I'd just like to get one goal in, so
it's so much more comfortable, yeah. Just when you start getting past that 30-minute or 35-minute mark and you're heading toward halftime without a goal, you kind of start getting a bit worried, like.
Yeah, the stats have just come up on screen with QPR that they're first in the league in terms of scoring in games. So they've scored in every game this season. And they're second in a whole host of categories. I don't have the full list of them, but it's like shots on target, shots on goal, a lot of them. So I'm hoping that starts to turn into actual goals and not just a stat fairly soon.
Speaking of stats, an interesting one just came up here I'm watching the Dundalk-Waterford game. Waterford had 2 corners, and then Dundalk have just had 2 in a row, so it's 2 apiece. And what would you say Waterford's average corners per game in the league is so far this year?
For Waterford or in total?
Yeah, no, for Waterford.
I'm going to guess low rather than high. I mean, obviously, the fact you're saying it's going to be one of the extremes, and I'm going to say extreme.
It's not 8, you know what I mean? Guess what it is? It's 2.7. That's really low. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy though. Yeah.
They've already had 2 here, so 1 more, and they're above average. The Belgium game still not really producing anything of note up front. The stats have come up here. It's 85% possession to Mechelen, which obviously is not my favourite stat, but it does show how one-sided this is so far. And they've only had 1 shot. Oostende have had none. So the ball, you don't really see it so much in football, but like in rugby and other sports, you'll see the kind of territory maps. It's the entire game has been played just outside the Mechelen or the Oostende box. So very, very one-sided so far without being high on quality.
That had been really wasn't a good chance, but it was an opportunity to get into a really good position for Lille. They broke, and it was 5-on-3 against the PSG defenders. So I'm not too sure who the midfielder was. I'm watching on a small screen here, but the midfielder was coming through, and he had 1 player to his right and 2 to his left, and he went to thread a ball through to the fella on the right, and he got cut out by Marquinhos. But if he had went left, they had 2-on-1 out on the left-hand side of the box. Definitely would have challenged the keeper. So it's a pity for the game that Lille couldn't go ahead. But they're on the attack here, and they've just got a corner again. So probably to Sofian's point, maybe you can't trust on them.
You made a good point here as well. Again, you expect PSG to Bayern Munich everyone, which is a verb I quite like now. Bayern Munich everyone.
Yeah, that's exactly what I expect. Yeah,
they stick to the 1-0s. Yeah,
I completely agree with that. Exactly what I was saying. Yeah, you're thinking it's going to be like 5 or 6-0, and they just they just don't do it.
Here's a question for you, lads: do Emmen have a shot on target yet?
Not from what Bet365 is saying. Anyway, they don't. There's only been it's showing 3 shots in 54 minutes, and all 3 of them have been off target, which is a pretty underwhelming statistic for any game, but particularly a Dutch game.
What's the time on the clock there?
54 and a half minutes just gone now, so you definitely would be looking for one in the next 5 or 10 minutes, or else I'd be starting to kind of worry.
Yeah. Big time.
I'll keep us all updated anyway. If anything happens there, I'm keeping an eye on it. I have the Graafschap bet as well that I'm keeping an eye on. It's only 4 minutes into the second half. They've had a couple of chances, but it's still 0-0 there as well. So I'll be hoping for a goal there soon too.
Yeah.
Lille just had another great chance here in the PSG game. They broke once they get by the PSG midfielders. Basically the PSG attacking players are just leaving 3 defenders to defend. So they had a 5-on-3 a couple of minutes ago, and they've had a 4-on-3 there a second ago. That turned into a good shot. So, it's definitely end to end in this game. Unfortunately, it was Jonathan David who got the chance, and he just put it wide from about maybe 15 yards in the center of the goal. So it would have been nice for him to get that on target for my bet builder bet, but said Lille are definitely in this game anyway.
Yeah, that's what you want really, because obviously with the PSG being huge favourites, if they were to dominate early on, the game could just kind of fade away. But the Mechelen game here, Mechelen are really dominating, but every time they get to the last, the final ball, it just goes, the player runs left and the ball goes right type of thing. They're just not linking up with each other. So hopefully they settle down. Oostende actually have a very dangerous looking free kick here. It's in line with the edge of the box, but quite out by the sideline, but exactly in line with the 16-yard line. So they're probably going to swing this one in, or they're definitely going to swing it in, and it's very dangerous. That was an awful free.
So disappointing when you build it up and here it comes.
Well, I don't want them to score. I want Oostende not to score, so I'm okay with that.
Hoffenheim just did a free or a corner kick rather there, but nothing came of it. It's back in their half, and it's nearly a minute into first half stoppage time, so it's looking likely to go into half time at 2-0. They're just tapping it around their back 3 there, their back 3 or 4. Running down the end of the injury time clock, I guess. Although they're kind of pushing up the pitch now a bit, seeing as they brought out the Hertha players up to them a bit, created a bit of space. So you never know. They're kind of a bit of a 50-50 ball there. If Hoffenheim had made it, they probably would have had a 3-on-1, but Hertha got a leg in and a bit of a clearance. So yeah, I'd say it's going to go halftime any second.
Yeah, the brief danger for Oostende is over now. It's ball right back down the other end, and it's all Mechelen again. So I think the commentary on this game is going to get pretty repetitive. It's just going to be the same for the rest of the game. I don't see them having enough to trouble Mechelen. By the way, if you believe SofaScore, Emmen had 2 shots on goal and Venlo had 3. So that is something we've talked about on the stream before. Talk about it a lot. Different bookies and different, websites, Live Score, Flash Score, SofaScore, they all seem to have different stats. Now, I don't know how that happens. I don't know where they get the stats from, that there's such a variance, but it's a tricky one. Hard to know who to believe in. Hopefully the shots
really is, yeah. I haven't figured it out yet. Like, who do you go with?
One I have noticed before is that some places consider blocked shots as shots on goal, but they're not shots on target. So it depends on which, because I think with Live Score, you've got shots on target, shots off target, blocked shots. I'm not familiar with SofaScore. Can't think of how they do it, but maybe that's one reason for differences. Otherwise, I'm not sure. But like we said, hopefully the goals come either way, and it doesn't miss a point.
Betfair now is showing much more shots. Yeah, they're showing, I think that might be the same as what you were looking at. 3 shots on target and 2 shots on target, and then 4 off and 1 off. So that's 5 on and 5 off so far, which is much more promising than what Bet365 are showing for it. They still just have 3 shots off target and 0 on target. So yeah, it's bad, really, the difference. Like, and it kind of shows you are at such an advantage if you're watching a game that you're betting on. Now, obviously, if you're putting bets on before kickoff, it's a different story. But for any in-play betting, if you're trying to base it on any of these sort of stats, you definitely need to be looking around at a few sources and kind of piecing it together that way.
Yeah. And as well as the quality of the shots as well, like a shot on target isn't necessarily better than a shot off target.
Very true. And a shot off target, like you could have the keeper beaten and it just rattles the post and it's considered a shot off target and, inches from hitting the back of the net. Yeah.
I mean, like we've said at the start of the show, we said it every week, we're quite profitable on these in-play bets. And I think that's a big part of it because you're watching the games and you get a much better feel for them. When you're not watching, it's a much more difficult proposition. So it's another corner for Waterford here. So it's 3 now in the game. So pushing that season average up.
Smashing their average.
Yeah. Got to get back corners in this game. You'd be delighted. It's already been 6. Sorry, Gary, you going to say something?
I was quiet there for a second because I was just looking at the QPR game here.
It looked like there was a few more chances there, Gary, was there?
Yeah, so basically QPR play with wing backs. There's a guy, Albert Adoma, and he's just had probably the luckiest minute I've ever seen from a player. So Nottingham Forest had an attack. The striker took a shot, keeper parried it across the 6-yard box, and Adoma just toe poked it, didn't know where it was going, and it missed the goal by inches, went out for a corner. But honestly, it was that much away from going into the goal. Corner came in, got cleared, and then from the next attack after it, he should have given away a penalty. So he was running side by side with the right winger. Right winger put his kind of body in front. There was a tangle of legs, definite penalty, and the ref gave a free to QPR instead of giving a penalty to Nottingham Forest. But it was Adoma again. So I said in the space of about 90 seconds, he could have scored an OG and given away a penalty, and neither of them happened. So,
lucky boy.
Yeah, exactly.
Good news.
We have a few more comments in, by the way. So Sufane has asked us he doesn't think the 2.5 that Emmen have 2.5 in them.
Well, just to respond to that, it'll be Emmen have just scored this minute.
Yeah,
I'm saying I'd be sitting pretty
well.
comfortably if they got one in by 60 minutes and it was just 61. It was just into the 62nd minute and they scored. So I still think that, that's well on for another 2.
We have a counter argument here in the comments, and I don't really speak any Portuguese, but I think it might be Portuguese. And we got Vasco Gama telling us that I think something, a rude way to say that he doesn't think Emmen are going to score 2 goals. I think he'll give us his unmentionables if they do get the 2 goals. I don't know if you've backed anything there, Vasco, or if you have a bet, or you just don't think it's going to come in. And to answer your question, Sylvain, about the most interacting viewer. So, yeah, the ACA that we called out at the start of the show, we'll just put it quickly back on the screen in one moment. It's the live action trebles, or live action ACA. So every Friday we put on a treble ourselves, one pick each. We do it before the games go live, and on SportsRunDown.com, the bet will be up there before, Thursday or Friday morning. Sorry, that's the wrong bet, but you'll see it in very shortly. And we put that on ourselves, and if it wins, we'll give the money to the most interactive viewer. So you are a clear front runner in that regard tonight. So if that bet wins, so that's over 2.5 goals in the QPR game. Is that right, Gary?
Over 2.5 goals in QPR. Yeah.
Hoffenheim to win, and over 2.5 goals in the Bundesliga, and then Oostende to win in the Belgian First Division A. So they're all looking reasonable enough. It's still 0-0 in Belgium, it's 2-0 in Germany, and it's 0-0 in the QPR game. So if those three come in, it'll be, I think you said, Gary, about €114. So we'll give that to the most active person in the comments, or maybe it's not necessarily the most active, but the most engaging, the best comments, or the highest quality comments. So we call it We Bet You Win. We probably actually even said that tonight, but that's what we're trying to call it. It's a new segment on the show, so we're still getting our head around it, but that's it tonight. So it's €114 to whoever wins, whoever has the best comments, provided those bets win. Obviously, if it doesn't, then we just lose our €10 bet, but that's where we are.
You can blame Gary for letting you down if QPR don't go.
At this stage, that's the way it's looking. So
I'm not comfortable with that yet, because there's no goals in Belgium, so I'm not going to join in those flags yet.
I know it's going to come back to haunt me now, and it's just going to stay 2-0, or even worse, Hertha will come back and equalise.
I think I preferred the stream a couple of weeks ago when my bet was in after 4 minutes, and I could just sit back and relax.
And put us under pressure.
Yeah. Damn, you're all generous men. Oh well, we try our best. We're trying to have, create a good show here, get a kind of a community feeling, and have everyone on the same page. You might see it on some of the videos we have on our
Robin Hood and us, and that's exactly it. We'll steal from the bookies and give it to you.
Yeah. It's a very nice way of describing it.
You might see that being robbed and put out as a bit of marketing.
I was thinking the same. Yeah, we could start calling it right now.
We'll just screenshot that comment. We'll share it everywhere. People call us the Robin Hood of sports betting, but yeah, look, we try to make gambling fun. We really enjoy it, and we know there's a lot of content out there that doesn't necessarily appeal to people who are like ourselves, just normal lads who like to have a few bets. So, glad you like the idea, and hopefully you like the show, and you can watch with us. We do this every Friday, by the way. So we do the live action ACA and the bet along Friday nights to just add a bit of fun to the games that are on. So glad you're enjoying it, and appreciate the feedback. Thank you. In Belgium, by the way, Oostende have completely a different team all of a sudden. A lot of pressure. I think they had one dangerous attack in the first 20 minutes, and now they've had 9 in the next 4. And they've gone from no shots to 5 in that 4-minute spell. So really, really night and day switch in Belgium. Hopefully it's short-lived.
Yeah, hopefully they'll burn out now and just go to pieces.
Yep. We got Amatayo in the comments, who I think is that a dab? Is that what that's called? The Paul Pogba celebration. Makes myself seem like a boomer.
Such an old man. Is that a dab?
Yeah. Millennial.
It is a dab.
Yeah. I didn't even know that was an emoji. Can you all drop some social so I can keep up with you all? Actually, that's a really good point. We should probably do that more often. So, Gary, do you want to just run through some of our social pages there so that Sylvain can keep up with us?
Yeah, so on the bottom of the screen there, you'll see both our Facebook and Twitter. So our Facebook is SportsRunDown.com. If you search for that and like the page or follow the page, you will see all of the activity that goes out there. And then our Twitter is S_or_D official. Again, that's at the bottom of the screen, just where the blue icons are. So if you follow them, they're probably our most active socials on a daily basis. So we'll have all of our articles that go up, will be posted out there, any kind of ad hoc bets we do, comments on games we're watching. So we go to games. So I'm going to West Ham versus Aston Villa, or Aston Villa versus West Ham on Sunday. So there'll be some videos or photographs from that game being posted and we also do some horse racing content as well that'll be out there. So a bit of everything. Follow the socials, and I said you'll see them. We do have an Instagram. It's not as active, but that
Insta does not apply to our Instagram.
Yeah, I think it's SportsRunDown Official is our Instagram handle if you want to follow that. But I said it isn't as active as the Twitter and Facebook streams.
Thanks, Gary. Really appreciate that. We've got a few more comments in. So you're going to follow both. Really appreciate that. I'm going to tell you, you confirmed that it is a dab. Apologies, I should have known that. And in the meantime, Oostende have taken, or have Mechelen have taken the lead in Oostende. So it's 1-0.
Brilliant.
And really shows what I said in the article about, distracting comment there, what I said in the article about how poor Mechelen are. It was a goal, it was a clearance from kind of by the corner flag. Hold on. Oh, nearly 2-0. Clearance from their own corner flag. He cleared it to just the edge of his own box and belted it off the back of one of his centre backs. So the right back hopped it off the centre back, and the Mechelen striker just took the ball, skirted around him, and then basically passed it to the keeper, who somehow let it go through him into the goal. So awful goal from a Mechelen point, from a stand point of view, but it's got us up and running. And Sufane, you've told us here that you're sitting smoking a joint. Did you even see the socials in the bottom? Oh no, that's all right. That'll do it.
Only my mother watches this. I'd say we've all been there.
So
Manola Meza is cheering on the goal in Belgium as well on Facebook here. So Manola, hopefully we're on that top tip from LB.
Oh, very good, Manola. Yeah, glad you're on it. Glad you're enjoying it. Let us know what else you're watching or what else you're betting on, and we will keep chatting away about those. Yeah, really happy with that goal. Like I said, it was a very ugly goal, but it did what it needed to do. The Oostende heads have just dropped here. I don't think the ball has even got outside of their third of the pitch since that goal. They passed it back from the restart, and they haven't gotten it out since. So hopefully we can get a couple more goals here and then just put that to bed nice and early.
It was a bittersweet goal for me because now I'm the one lagging the bet behind. So when I went in, I was just like, oh my God. So I've got about 6 minutes in the QPR Forest game to get a goal to kind of have an interest in the second half, I would say. I don't think there'll be 3 in the second half, so we could do with a goal. But watching the game here, Nottingham Forest should be 2 or 3-0 up. They're all over them. So again, if you're looking for an in-play bet, and I might get on at halftime myself, if it's still 0-0, you can get Forest at 2-1. I think they're a really good bet. So try and salvage some of my pride from the fact that this team are over 2.5 isn't going too well.
That's a good call, Gary. Yeah, I'm going to tell you in the comments an observation. Why don't you flash across the screen your picks and ACCAs? It's difficult to follow considering the wide range of discussions. That's actually a very good point. And we used to do it and maybe we let it drop. We should probably look back into that. So yeah, if people are finding it hard to track what we're talking about, we should look to have every few seconds or every few minutes just an update.
There was a period where like we had a few accumulators up on screen, and then we were also doing in-play betting, and it was actually, it mightn't sound like it, but it was actually messier and more difficult to follow. I think when there was accumulators up on screen, but we might be talking about an in-play bet that kind of was nothing to do with it. But
you know what? Yeah, maybe at least for the Friday ACCA, the live action ACCA, we should have that up
there. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
No, we do have for next week.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, just Manolo on Facebook, who was cheering on the goal in Belgium, has PSG over 2.5 as well. So be cheering that on for you, Manolo.
So you say, Manolo, you took over 3. Just to be sure, does that mean over 2.5 or actually over 3? Because I know some bookmakers have 2 different ways of doing it. So hopefully it's over 2.5. It's an easier line to hit, but let us know what you've done there.
It's over 2.5.
Lille have gone up 1-0 in that game, which I guess really is good for an over 2.5 bet. Even though your team are going down 1-0, it's making it more likely that there'll be 3 goals in the game.
Yeah, just one thing, you got us on your radio, Manolo. So that's actually very interesting. I didn't know there was even a way to listen to us on the radio, but very glad that you're doing it. You're still working your 9 to 5 in the States. Very good. Yeah, I do like the radio. Actually, I do like listening to sport on the radio as well. So hopefully, obviously you're the same. And we have another comment in on YouTube. Walter, you've got Roda, Slats, back to you. Dutch football game. What's your thoughts on the Roda game?
I haven't looked at it yet, to be honest. So I can't really give a whole lot of feedback there. But if you give me a minute, I'll jump in and take a quick look at it.
Yeah, we'll get back to you very soon on that one.
Yeah,
I think you got a comment there again. I think that's Portuguese, and I think it's just asking us to give the analysis. So, yeah, Slats is our Dutch football expert. He'll have a quick look at that and get back to you. I actually missed the goal in the French game. Not sure where that came from.
The Roda game.
Jonathan David, anyway, so he has a shot on target for that bet.
Nice.
And Angel Di Maria has a shot on target for that bet as well. So it's actually going along okay.
Very nice, yeah. And actually, just for the new people, so Manolo on Facebook and Walter and the guys on YouTube, make sure to like the page or like the videos and subscribe to the page or follow, depending on which platform you're on, because we do our best here. So we do really appreciate the likes and the follows. It makes a huge difference to what we do. So if it's not too much hassle, just hit those like buttons and do us a favor back.
That's MVV
go
Roda game. Just to respond to it, I didn't see what happened, but it just went suspended on Bet365 and Betfair at around halftime. It was 0-0, and I'm not sure, was it a little before halftime or was it actually during halftime? But Bet365 have removed it from their betting, and Betfair still have it suspended. So something has gone on there outside of the game where it looks like that game might be getting postponed. It certainly hasn't kicked off for the second half yet. And like I said, Bet365 aren't showing it any longer. Obviously, while we're on air, we don't have the opportunity to kind of research what's actually happened there. But in terms of betting, there's that game is going to be cancelled by the look of it, so it'll be removed from any accumulator.
Shame it's not the Emmen game. So I'm going to tell you in the comments here, you understand the confusion. Yeah, appreciate it. We'll take your feedback on board, though. We do love getting feedback from viewers. So we'll, if it was confusing the way we did it earlier, we'll definitely take that on. Whoa, PSG repeating the Manchester and Bayern disappointment. Yeah, we said it at the start of the show. I don't think you might have been with us at the time, but we had a few comments in and we discussed that PSG are very inconsistent and they're not as consistent as you might expect from a team of their stature. And now, Safane, you've got 5 out of 6 in your combi bet in your ACA, and just FC Emmen is killing it. So that is a horrible feeling to get 5 out of 6 right. Yeah.
Now, if they got another by 80 minutes, again, I'd still be comfortable enough about a third to come. It's just 75 minutes now, but you certainly want one in the next 5 minutes or so. I wouldn't be giving up on it just yet, seeing as it's the Dutch second division, which has plenty of goals and plenty of late goals, but you would want one there in the next 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, and a last update here in the Waterford game. Dundalk had just taken the lead in the 3rd minute of injury time in the first half. 47 and a half minutes on the clock. Now, we've talked regularly on the show, Waterford are a second half team, so maybe it's better to have the goal now than later on. But disappointing they couldn't hold out to half time there, especially for your bet, Gary, with just a straight win. Obviously, for the both teams to score bets, it doesn't change anything. But for the straight win bet, guys, it's an awful time to concede as well.
Just to update, the Hoffenheim game is kicking off for the second half. So for anyone that's joined late, my pick on that was Hoffenheim to win in over 2.5 goals. And they went into halftime leading 2-0. So one more goal and that should be in once they can hold on to the win. So hopefully they'll go up 3-0 and that'll be in the bag. If they concede and it goes 2-1, it's still looking pretty decent, but they do need to win. So I'll keep any updates that go on in that match. It's just a minute into the second half now.
Okay. Very good. What's the status in the QPR game, Gary? What's the time on the clock there? Must be nearly.
So it's 45 minutes on the clock, but there's been 6 minutes added on extra time. As I kind of stated earlier on, there was 2 decent enough injuries there that kind of broke up the game. So 6 minutes added on time in the QPR game. In the PSG Lille game, there's a bad challenge by Yilmaz. He's been given a yellow card for the challenge. So if you're looking at any betting websites, you can see it's suspended. I think it was suspended for a VAR review of that tackle, but looks like it's going to be just a yellow card for Yilmaz. Should just be getting that right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just back in play now. So don't be fretting if you have a bet there.
It's half time in that Waterford game now, by the way. So,
what odds are Waterford now? What were they, about 4.5 to 1 a kickoff? I wonder if they've drifted or kind of stayed the same.
1-0 down. They must be. Let's say they're 10 to 1.
Oh, sorry, they went 1-0 down. I missed that.
Oh, sorry, yeah, the 47 and a half minutes. It was just going up on half time.
Sorry, yeah, you were saying, Dundalk. Yeah, geez, they're okay. Waterford are 20 to 1 now.
Yeah, I'm actually going to back that 20 to 1 is crazy price there. We've got Vasco back in the comments. There's a few comments there that won't probably be visible to anybody who's not an admin here, but again, a very graphic way of describing why you think there won't be more goals in that Dutch game. So we'll leave that to people's imaginations, but hopefully, I'm not sure if you've got a bet that you don't want goals in that game, or you just don't think there will be goals. But certainly for the other viewers, we hope there are goals. We're cheering them on. But yeah, a few missing comments there. It's gone 2-0 in Belgium. Mechelen 2-0 up. It is a much better goal. Really nice cross from the outside, and then a lovely finish from the far side of the box. The question mark, of course, again for Oostende is that I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 defenders. The ball went past 6 defenders and the goalkeeper before it made its way to the far side of the box for a tap into effectively an open goal. So 2-0, and that is close to being in the bag, I would dare say. So yeah, very happy with that.
Better about myself here with my 0-0.
Let's do a quick recap on the games that we covered, right? So what is it in Germany? No, I wouldn't do that. The other night didn't get it last week as well. I'm in no position to be throwing stones. My goal score last week didn't come in, so plenty of time left in the English league is a bit like that. The English leagues, all of them are a bit like that as well, Gary. They're kind of late leagues. There's definitely more goals in the second half than the first half.
Yeah, and like throwback to kind of QPR Reading earlier on the season, I think there was 2 goals in injury time in that game, and there actually could have been 3 goals in injury time. So it's not fully dead, but I would have liked a goal just so you have that little bit of comfort going into the second half. There's still 3 minutes left here, so that's fine. Might still be a goal, and there looks to be a free kick just on the edge of the box. And then Manolo is celebrating the second goal in Belgium. And just for Manolo, I know you're in the States. If you're into NFL, after the football has ended, so approximately kind of 4:45 Eastern, we'll stop the show for a couple of minutes, and then we'll be back on covering our NFL picks for the weekend. So if you fancy hearing us chat some NFL, if you're into NFL, make sure to hang around for that.
Actually, a good comment there from Manolo. You got your video open and connected to the Bluetooth audio speakers of your car. That is a very industrious way of getting it on. Really appreciate that. Like the input. And we have another comment in from Iago in the YouTube comments. So again, I think this is Portuguese, but I think basically saying you think the MVV game has been abandoned. Slats
looks to be, yeah. I mean, it's certainly all I'm going by now is the betting sites, and like I said, Bet365 removed it from their website, and Betfair are still showing it, but it's still shown as 45 minutes, and it's been suspended since that time, which is easily half an hour ago. In fact, it's just changed now. It's saying full time, and the markets have closed, so it's not continuing that match. So yeah, it didn't get into the second half. That means any betting on it will be, it'll be taken out of accumulators, or stakes will be returned on single bets.
Sorry, Slats, I didn't want to cut across you there, but QPR have just gone 1-0 up in the 49th minute. So anybody who saw me celebrating there, totally against the run of play. I said all of the game I've seen, Forest have been way the better team. First real attack that QPR put together down the left-hand side. It was actually Adoma who had that lucky 90 seconds earlier on, gets a really good cross, and then Lyndon Dykes, who's the QPR kind of main striker, with an easy header at the back post, kind of a tap-in header from the 6-yard box. So that has our bet looking really, really good going into the half-time in the games. And anybody in the comments now has a chance of hopefully winning that €114.
Yeah, very good. Very good time to get that goal as well. We didn't want that going any further. Yeah. So that's 1-0 in QPR, 2-0 in Belgium, and 2-0 in Germany. So basically need nothing in Belgium, hopefully, or at least any goals come Mechelen's way. Yeah, just wrap it up now. I'd love to know why that game was abandoned in the Netherlands.
Yeah, we can look into it when we have a bit more time, but there's still a bit of action, and I want to just see out this Emmen game. It's still 1-0 in the 83rd minute, so I haven't seen anything that's going to justify a massive amount of injury time. And 7 minutes left. It's looking pretty doubtful now. But hopefully, if there is a goal soon, you never know.
Yeah, we got the comment in saying that Venlo just put in 3 subs. So if it goes 1-1, that could win us the bet through the back door. So yeah, agree with that. You do prefer to see it go.
Yeah, we had it last week in Portugal where I had over 2.5 on the home win, and they were up 1-0, I think, going into like the 88th minute, and it went 1-1, and then in injury time they went on and got a winner. So you know, it can happen. And like you're saying, when it goes 1-1, it puts both teams at a point. The equalizing team is like, we can go on to win this, and the team that we're winning for such a long period are like, we need to get back up there and give ourselves a chance to win it now. So yeah, you never know, but it's certainly, looking a little unlikely, and with 5 out of 6 in, you'd be pretty disappointed there now if this one lets you down.
Yeah, we'll cross our fingers and hope, and then that's all we can do at this stage. Half-time in Waterford, or in Dundalk in the Waterford game, so nothing much there. I've backed Waterford there at 20-1. We've said it so many times, they're a second half team. It actually happened to them against Bows last week, or earlier in the week. Earlier this week, I think they played on Monday. They went 1-0 down, and then 1-0 down at the end of the first half and came back and won 2-1. So they've done a lot of that recently. So fingers crossed again that comes good. And then I've also done a small treble. So let me get that up. I did PSG to come back and win.
I think I might tell you on this, LB, because I was going to back PSG as well.
You've got PSG to win, double chance Waterford, so draw or win, and over 2.5 goals in Gary's game, which is 11-10, which I'm pretty happy to take considering that goal came in there on the 49th minute. And that is 26-1, that treble. So 2 goals in QPR, 1 goal at least in Waterford to just tie it, and PSG to come back. 26-1 seems like a big price to that.
Seems really good, especially for double chance in there,
Yeah. So as long as Waterford don't concede straight away in the second half, that's going to feel live. So yeah, taking that there. And they're the only 2 bets I've put on in the last couple of minutes. I'll probably have a look around some of the other games. Paul, you were right about Almeria. Sorry about was it Almeria? What was this the second? Almeria, sorry, in the second. They're 1-0 up. It's on the verge of half time. They're 3-10 though, so I probably won't be back in that. And then Real Sociedad B team are losing to Las Palmas, so probably wouldn't go near that one. And then the betting value is completely gone in Belgium. Oostende are now 1-16. It's crazy, but that's what they are, so stay away from that. And so I was going to give it a minute, see if anything jumps out, but they're the 2 bets that I've put on live.
Yeah, I'm just tailing you on that bet now, LB. So
yeah, what did you get? I got it about 27-1, was it? Is that right? Or
yeah, 26 point something to 1 is what I got on bet 365. Yeah.
Just trying to find the double chance market here.
Yeah, from what we've seen of Waterford, and you were spelling it out there, I'll be like they've been a great team to back in the second half or back at halftime for a second half win. They've done the business for us a few times now. And you mentioned during the week off air like that they did it again. Was it in the cup? Were they losing at halftime right at the end?
No, they lost the cup game, but then they played both. It seems to happen so often. Teams play in the cup and then play right after in the league. But they played both in the league on Monday. Went 1-0 down at halftime and came back in 2-1. Manolo, you've told us you'll be right back. Halftime means lunchtime. Yeah, I know that feeling. All right, exactly. Yeah, take your lunch break.
Grab a Friday beer for yourself, Manolo. You're nearly at the end of the day.
Depends what Manolo you do when you're 9 to 5. If you're a doctor, maybe don't grab a lunchtime beer. But if you're like us and you've got normal jobs, well then treat yourself to a Friday beverage. Yeah, man, it sucks. It doesn't matter. I'm already learning the QPR club song. Very nice. Yeah, hopefully you got on some of the QPR bets there. Gary sure knows his EFL. So, yeah, Gary's our EFL expert.
If you're ever in London, Sofian, I'd recommend a trip to Loftus Road. It's one of one of the best grounds in London. It's old school, cheap to go to, but really good atmosphere. So I'd recommend a trip to it. I used to go there a lot, and in fact, if we weren't doing this stream tonight, I'd actually be there tonight. So it's worth a trip if you're in London.
I do love those classic grounds, Crystal Palace as well. Just an absolutely deadly place to go.
Yeah, like I mean, but I think Loftus Road probably has a better. I don't know, has a better feel to you. Like like Loftus Road. There's a lot of, in Crystal Palace, there's a lot of poles in your way. There's a few at Loftus Road, but not as many.
It means literal poles, by the way, not people from Poland.
These are stanchions that get in your way, stop the view. But the fans are really good. So
we went there that time, Gary, together, and I couldn't. At least 30% of the pitch I couldn't see.
I actually went to a QPR away game, would you believe, against Chelsea, West London derby. It's when Harry Redknapp was manager, and QPR were like relegation fodder at that stage. I think they were bottom of the league. So I don't know how myself and my housemate at the time managed to bag tickets. So we're like, right, we're going in with all these hardcore QPR fans, West London derby. So how are we going to make ourselves like celebrate a goal? So we ended up taking 20 quid on QPR 10-1, and they won 1-0. They scored down our end. It was brilliant. But we were celebrating like lifelong QPR fans. I nearly fell over the stand down into the lower leg, like our lower area of the stand in Chelsea. I was celebrating that much. It was brilliant. So I've a soft spot for them ever since.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. It is just gone a bit quiet now in the Belgian game side. It's gone half time in the Belgian game. It's gone quiet in the other games. So just a little bit of a lull now between now and the start of the second halves in those games, in the 7:45s. Just like we said before, I said at the start of the show, anyone who's watching, make sure to like the page, follow us, subscribe. We really appreciate the interaction from people, and let us know what games you're watching, what bets you might have on, or if you have any questions about the games coming up over the weekend. We just love talking about this stuff, so let us know where you're at, and we will have those conversations. I am just looking around. I don't see any other value for bets at the minute, so I'm just going to stick with the two that I've got on. I could be tempted to look at the PSG game for some shots, maybe some shots bets, but I haven't been watching that one as closely as you guys, so I'm not sure if I'm going to have any insight there, unless you have any recommendations, Gary, for a halftime bet or for a shots bet.
I'll take a look now and just see what the odds are. But so I know I said at the top, but the Lille players are way overpriced. So Yilmaz has had one shot on target, and he's 11-10 to have another shot on target. And Jonathan David has had 2 shots, one of those on target, and he's 13-10 to have a shot on target. I think they're decent the way this game has been. It's been end to end. And as I said, like even when it was 0-0, the PSG midfield weren't interested in running back. Anytime Lille broke through the line, it was how many players they could get forward against the 3 PSG defenders. So if they stay as open as that, I think the 2 strikers for Lille are a decent price in the shots on target market. Apart from that, you're probably looking at somebody like Marquinhos, who, I assume PSG are going to come out, be aggressive. They'll get a few corners, and Marquinhos is good in the air. He's 9-2 for 1 shot on target and 33-1 for 2. So
I was just going to ask you,
looking at
which of the PSG defender stands out to you the most, and you've just beat me to the punch there. I want you to do 1 shot for each of those guys. So Jonathan David Yilmaz and Marquinhos, 33-1 for each of those guys to have a shot. It's a treble. So Jonathan David.
Oh, sorry,
Yilmaz, not Jonathan David Yilmaz. That's the double barrel name guy. So I'll do a tenner on that.
The only the fear with Yilmaz is like he's a bit of a hothead and he's on a yellow card. So I don't think he'd be subbed, but like if he gets another yellow and gets sent off, that would be the only hesitation about him. But like it's probably a slim chance as well.
We've another comment in from Paul. You got on both teams to score in the Belgium game at 1.7 at half-time. Don't use those decimal odds around Gary now. He's likely to go off the ledge. He's a rabidly anti-decimal man. But yeah, are you watching that game with us, Paul? I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one. Oostende, I mean, they're at home and they did have a 5-minute spell where they looked really, really good. I think they got 5 shots in 4 minutes. So hopefully they can pull one back nice and late, a consolation goal, and doesn't really put the Mechelen win in any doubt, but hopefully you can get on it. We'll check there the goals myself. Yeah, it's 2-11 for another goal. So 1.7 is a good increase on that for it to be a Mechelen goal. An Oostende goal, apologies. So
we're going Yilmaz, David, and who's the third for a shot in the PSG
Marquinhos, the PSG defender.
Marquinhos, I see him. Oh yeah, he's 9-2.
I'm gonna actually have to put this on myself now.
Yeah,
I FOMO when it lands, and I'm the one that doesn't have it.
just because we did get asked earlier, on Matayo in particular, that you find the bets a little bit unclear when we put them on. So that is for Burak Yilmaz, Jonathan David, 2 Lille players, and then Marquinhos, the PSG defender. The 3 of those to have 1 shot on target each. So it's a relatively new betting market. It just means a shot that either goes into the goal or is saved by the keeper, basically. If it hits the post or doesn't go, if it goes wide or anything, doesn't count. So it's a shot that would have been a goal but isn't a goal, basically, is the definition. Or it
can be. It can be a goal too, like.
Oh yeah, it can be a goal too as well, of course. So that's the bet there. The 3 of those to have 1 shot each is 33-1.
Marquinhos, Gary, how would you feel about him getting 2 shots? I don't know if you've looked at the odds yet, but what would you?
No, I said that when I called it 33-1 for him to get 2 shots. I said, like, I'd expect that PSG are going to have a lot of shots from. They'll be shooting from everywhere. That'll turn into keeper saving and tipping it over or whatever for corners. Yeah. So it brings centre halves into play. So I wouldn't put you off at Slats.
Yeah, I'm on it already. Once you didn't say a no straight out, I was ready to click confirm bet.
Yeah, like he's actually won. I've had him in a couple of Champions League games. Like anytime scorer, he's always about kind of 7 or 8-1 anytime scorer. But PSG get a surprising amount of corners, especially in the Champions League. So he's always a live bet.
He'd be the closest. Maybe you can say Messi. People say he's a leader in the sense that he scores goals when teams need him or whatever. But Marquinhos, to me, is probably the leader in that squad as well. Like, he does, when they need someone to grab the grain by the scruff of the neck, he's usually the player who does it. So it's good odds for a player like that. Paul, you're back. Sorry, Paul is back. But Sufain has just said you're back, guys, from having to take a break to have a cry after that game. So yeah, can appreciate how that goes.
Yeah, wrapping up 1-0 full time.
Paul, the stats are decent, and Oostende home record of scoring is very good. Yeah, Oostende, personally, I think Oostende have been a little bit flattered by the schedule, but yeah, they do score goals. They just seem to concede more, so I'm quite happy. I did say it in the preview on SportsRunDown.com. I'm not sure if you got to see it, that both teams to score and over 2.5 individually. I really like both of those bets, but they were both priced so low that I just couldn't bring myself to do it. 1 to 2 for each of them, or 1.5 in your decimal language. But getting 1.7 now with half the bet in, it seems like certainly a good proposition there, and they'll be pushing hard for it. So yeah, hopefully it comes in.
I need to go find a sick book with all his decimal odds being quoted.
Yeah. So, Sven, if you've got any other bets coming up over the rest of the night or the weekend, let us know as well. We'd love to chat about them. How late will we be online? That's actually an interesting question. We usually stay till around the end of the football, so probably about an hour's time from now.
Another hour, yeah.
Yeah, and then we switch over. We look at some American football. Although I have noticed actually recently we do tend to pick up a lot of viewers quite late in the show, just when the football is coming to an end. So we might have to readdress that, but it does get late. If you had something in mind or any particular game you're thinking about, let us know. Again, like we said earlier, and we've said it a few times, we do love the feedback and the input. So
just to explain, Sofian might not know what the Circa Millions is. So Sofian, we've entered a thing called the Circa Millions. So Circa are a bookmaker in Las Vegas, and they put a pot of, is it $4 million that's in the total prize purse? So it's $4 million up for grabs. The winner overall gets $1 million. And then there's a lot of kind of weekly prizes and every kind of monthly prizes and things like that as well. And what it is you have to pick 5 teams to beat the spread every week. So there'll be, I don't know, the Miami Dolphins versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. The spread might be -5 for the Dolphins, and we choose one of those. We put it in, and whoever has the most correct picks over the season basically wins $1 million. So the second half of our show, from about kind of 10 p.m. CET, will be about the circa millions, and we'll be discussing our picks for the this week's games. So,
yep.
And you're asking what the site name is on there in your comment on YouTube. So our site is sportsrundown.com. Circa, I'm not too sure whether they have I'm sure they have a website, but I don't know whether you can back because it's a US bookmaker, so usually you're not allowed to sign up to them. But Liam, you did the process. You went to Vegas. Do you want to explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I went to Las Vegas to enter that competition. So you have to enter it in person in Nevada, anywhere in the state of Nevada. And then you can enter, you can do your weekly picks from abroad as long as you have like a proxy. So you just get somebody in Nevada to do it for you. It's completely legitimate. The first time I saw it, I thought it sounded a little bit like you're skirting the rules, but it is legit. But yeah, just to enter, you have to be there. So yeah, we're entered into that. You said it sounds cool. Yeah, it really is cool. We had a couple of bad weeks early on that kind of handicapped us a little bit, and we're struggling to keep up, but we've been kind of steady level since then. So
we're not that far behind though.
No, I think if we a 4 or 5 point swing and we're right back in it. So
are you are you doing one each? You just have one between you, the E.
Oh, yeah, one between us.
Yeah, it's Sports Rundown. We're entered as Sports Rundown. So
Grant. So I'm due a stake of that as well, am I?
And Matteo said, "Wow, I heard $1 million. I'm ready to predict." Matteo, hang around. As I said, in about an hour's time, we'll be going through those picks. If you're into NFL, happy to take your opinions on board. So Slats actually drops off for that part of the show, and we have our friend PK who will join us, and the three of us will discuss the picks, and go through every game, give our thoughts on every game, and then refine it down to 5 picks that will be submitted. So yeah, happy to have your input, and it'll give you an interest for Sunday's NFL games. You can back them, or you can just cheer them on for fun, because there are picks. So,
but just a comment that got missed there. So Paul, he corrected his 1.7 decimal to plus 170, which is the most confusing of the odds formats, in my opinion.
My mind is just going to explode on screen.
Yeah.
I kind of got a bit used to the American one. Like I get the logic.
Negatives kill me though.
That's the negatives. Yeah.
But it's that you're looking to win 100 rather than you're looking to stake a certain amount. Like that's what it's based on. It's about what you win.
Yeah, but who's like, I don't go around trying to win 100 on every bet. Like, I got £4 in my account. I'm not trying to win 100. Well, I probably am, but a 25 to 1 shot, it's not the same thing. Just an update on the football, we've kind of gone off it. Waterford in the Dundalk game is incredibly open. Could be 1-1, could be 2-0 Dundalk, could even be 2-1 Waterford, or both teams could have scored twice so far in the second half. So very, very open. 55 minutes on the clock. 2 goals
is even money there. I might just get on that. Just any 2 goals in that match.
I'm just quite committed to that game, so I'm going to wait. I'm going to leave it off personally, but yeah, it's very open. Back in the comments, yeah. So yeah, basically that's Gary's give a very good summary of what we do there with that competition. So hopefully you guys want to stick around and enjoy it. But like we said, if you have any other feedback on the show, we do love people's input. So let us know what your thoughts are, what you'd like to see on the show, or what you think might be missing, or what you do like that we already have, and yeah, really appreciate that. Still half-time in Paris. Not much happening there, of course. And the Belgium game, that should be back rocking and rolling. See how PK's bet is doing. No, still half-time, not back yet. The Belgian games just have a real tendency to go off late. I don't know why.
There's been not a whole lot going on in the Hoffenheim game, by the way. It's 70 minutes now, and it's still 2-0. There hasn't been a huge amount of opportunities in the second half so far. So it's
surely at some point Berlin start to throw the kitchen sink at it and get caught.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I was watching for a few minutes. They have a corner here now, so I mean, they are starting to push a bit. But I flicked on a few minutes ago, and they were just passing it back and forth across their bloody defense, like Hertha were, not even Hoffenheim. Like,
just happy to take the 2-0 loss.
Yeah, they're like, all right, we're not going to lose any more than this. But yeah, 70 minutes. Although, hang on, Hertha in 1-on-1 goal, 2-1.
Oh, lovely,
sweet. Oh, is it? It's. I think it might be offside. Shite.
I presume that VAR is all over the Bundesliga.
Yeah, sure. I think it started in the Bundesliga.
I was going to say they probably had it in the 80s, did they? The Germans.
Oh, God, he's a mile off.
Waterford have a dangerous free kick here, less than 10 yards outside the box. It was a very nice little break, and actually came off a good Dundalk attack, and just got fouled needlessly. So hoping it would have been a yellow card, sway things a bit further in Waterford's direction, but it is that free kick is just being lined up now. So hopefully it's just flying again in the League of Ireland game. Real stinker for you lads to have that goal ruled off.
Yeah, that's sick. I was just going to say, like, given the timing, I'd have been very happy, even like with 2-1 as opposed to 3-0. You know, at this stage, you'd be taken to have the bet in, you know, even if another goal would kill it. Just with it sitting at 2-0, you know, 15, certainly less than 20 minutes left, it could, you know, realistically stay this way. Hoffenheim could just kind of try and kill it a bit. Hopefully not. I mean, sorry, it just went suspended there again, but it's only for a foul. It maybe is a red card, which isn't going to do the bet any good because it's it would be a Hertha player getting sent off. There's a bit of an altercation in the middle of the park now, so I think he's just given a yellow. But yeah,
kicked off in PSG, by the way, so we're back there. I will leave that to one of you guys to track the shots. Hopefully we get
I'm watching it here, so I can keep you updated on how it's going.
Great stuff.
QPR game, just it's 5 minutes into the second half, and although there's been no goals, it started how you kind of want. So Forest have come out just all guns blazing, and they could get picked off on the counter attack. They had a decent spell of possession there, and then QPR broke away. So I think there'll definitely be one more goal. Fingers crossed there'll be two. So I'll keep you updated on that as well.
Very good. This Waterford game is end to end. It was a Waterford free kick. Went out for nothing. It became a goal kick. Actually, just went wide. That turned into a quick kick out and a Dundalk very dangerous attack cleared for the corner. And now Waterford are actually on the break after that Dundalk corner. So this game is just end to end. I kind of have the feeling that both teams saw that Finn Harps were losing 2-0 at half time, and a win here would as good as guarantee them that they're staying up. So maybe they're, you know, just going for it because they know that they're a little bit of a safety net there, but who knows?
I don't know if you see this a whole lot. The ref gave a yellow card.
Oh,
go on, Gary. It's grand. You go ahead there.
This could be our two shots on target in. So our shot in for David and Yilmaz. It's definitely
Yilmaz for sure.
It's going to be dubious for David. I think Yilmaz definitely. There might be a penalty shout here as well if this goes to VAR.
That'll overrule the shot, won't it?
Yilmaz, yeah, but I think Yilmaz is going to take the penalty. So David has a shot. The keeper saves it, but I think Marquinhos is back on the line, so it won't be given as a shot on target. But Yilmaz definitely gets fouled. I think this could be a penalty, and I think Yilmaz will take it. Maybe not. Maybe not. It'll be closed for both of them anyway. So,
but I don't. The other thing, Gary, I don't think the defender being on the line would overrule the keeper save.
No, it is. It's the. I think it's the last man. I think it's the last man in the wording. So the penalty hasn't been given.
So it's been given to David. David has two shots on target now. On
and then Yilmaz should have two shots on target as well now as well. So I think we're just waiting on the.
I can just back Yilmaz.
I'm on Betfair here now, and it hasn't updated for the shots on target. So I'll let you know when it updates. But that was an action-packed minute or so there.
Yeah, that actually reminded me. I saw something on Twitter during the week. and just good to know, it's not just in Europe that we have very unscrupulous bookmakers. Some guy had a bet on with Barstool Sports bookie, and they misrecorded a guy. I think it was in baseball, a guy to have a certain amount of hits, but I could be mixing up the sports. And they recorded it wrong, so the bet went down as a loser. And then the official stats came out the next day, and he had the hits, so the bet should have been a winner. And he complained, and they came back to him and said, "No, we use our own in-house live stats, and even though it was recorded as a miss at the time, so you lose the bet, even though it actually won."
Oh my God, that's outrageous! And they probably have that buried in the term somewhere as well.
Yeah, but you can't just say like it's my definition of a shot. You know what I mean?
Ridiculous. All right. I presume it means they did pay out on the other side of it, at least for whoever had the unders or whatever.
I don't know. You'd like to think so, but
I mean, they have to at least be consistent about it. But it still is a bit of a joke that it's just like, who are we more exposed to? The overs. Okay, let's count it a bit low there. So
exactly.
Just to go back to the Hoffenheim game. So the ref had given a yellow card for a pretty nasty tackle, and then it went to VAR, and VAR. Well, after the VAR review, he gave a red card instead. It was overruled, the yellow with a red. I don't know if you see that a whole lot. I've seen it certainly in rugby, but
I've seen it a good few times. It happened in the Man United Liverpool game at the weekend. Pogba got a yellow card and then VAR.
Oh, that's right, actually, yeah. So that was to Hertha, and we've spoken about like red cards are never great. Now, in fairness, Hoffenheim are kind of on the attack here a bit after, and they're obviously facing 10 men. But it just makes it far less likely that Hertha are going to come back and get a goal here. So I'm hoping Hoffenheim, there was a bit of aggro after the tackle and a bit of an argy-bargy in the middle of the park, and I'm hoping, and the player who got fouled had to go off injured, so I'm hoping Hoffenheim are just going to be a bit ruthless now and just, go for blood, because I don't see Hertha getting one at this stage.
No, I'm going to tell you, you're back in the comments. The bookies rarely void a loss, but they're quick to void a win. That is the truth.
Yeah. I had that with one of the UK bookmakers at the end of last season. Remember, it was actually live on a stream. We were doing a MLS game, and there was a goal scored, but it was definitely offside. And I got offered a cash out value, so I took the cash out. The goal got ruled out, and then the next day, the bookmaker took the money out of my account. So I had to have a long drawn out process to get it back. Eventually they gave it back, but they can be sneaky. You need to be careful which bookmaker you go with. Just on Facebook, Manolo's back, and she's celebrating a goal. I'm not too sure.
Well, you were talking. Mechelen took a 3-0 lead, so
he is right here. Celebrating a goal, so.
Yeah, 3-0 lead in Belgium there. So from my point of view, that game is as good as wrapped up. Paul is in the comments on YouTube, still looking for the both teams to score. So hopefully now they can get a consolation back. Maybe I missed it, Manolo. So does that goal now mean your bet is won? You got your 3 or more, or it's not specifically over 3. So PSG full game over 3 and Oostende over 3.5. So you need one more there. Great. Plenty of time. And hopefully it goes 3-1 then soon. So we get your bet and we get Paul's bet. And everyone is looking good there together. That'd be great to get a few shared winners.
Sorry, I'll be just a penalty shout here in PSG Lille. So Angel Di Maria has gone down in the box. I think this could be given on VAR. Defender didn't get the ball. There wasn't much contact, but
Raquinho take penalties.
VAR at the minute anyway. He's been picked up.
Missed the penalty and scored a rebound, is it?
Yeah. Delightful.
He's been picked up off the ground, but I think they're still at VAR. I don't think a decision has been made yet. So looking at it here again, I've definitely seen them given. I wouldn't give it if I was the referee, but I've seen it given. And it hasn't been given. Play's been back in there. So it's kind of it turned into an entertaining game all of a sudden. The PSG game.
Yeah.
We haven't been awarded, by the way, the Yilmaz shot on target. So they haven't given that as a shot on target. That might be one for an argument afterwards, but they've awarded David. Yilmaz hasn't been.
For your in-play bet on that game, Gary, you had was it Jonathan David to score? Was it or was it?
I had him 2 shots on target, so I need so I had Di Maria 2 shots on target. He's had 1 shot, 1 shot on target, so need 1 more from him. I had David, he had the 2 shots, so that leg is settled. At over 10.5 corners, and the last time I checked, it was 5 corners.
Still 5.
And then I need Jose Fons to be yellow carded, and as I said, he's about 95. So the longer the game goes on, the more likely he is that to happen.
Is he likely to play much more of the game? I mean,
he plays all the games, but like,
really?
He was with West Ham like 4 or 5 seasons ago, and he was slow then. So I'd hate to see what he's actually like now. So
5 years of French food is hardly going to speed him up.
Yeah, just going around eating bread and butter, like.
So looking at this, by the way, Messi's been substituted off there, so I think Di Maria is going to get the full 90. I can't see him coming off now, so that leg is looking, I would say, is pretty safe. So it's really the yellow card you'd be worried about, and hopefully a glut of corners later on. 3-1 now in Mechelen, by the way. Oostende have pulled 1 back.
Nice.
I was watching the Waterford game. Let me flick on and see this goal. So that's Paul, your both teams to score bet here in the comment. Whoop 1.7 bet in, lol. So yeah, good stuff, Paul. You got your bet in, and that is Manolo's bet in as well, over 3.5 goals. So that's another winner there. That's great stuff. So 2 winners, Manolo and Paul. Love that. Love to see people winning their bets. I see the replay of this goal.
We need to start tailing these viewers now.
Yeah, we'll actually stop putting out bets, and you guys just tell us what to back.
Your bets, yeah.
Yeah, this game is looking pretty good now. So yeah, I said it in the article, so I'm not sure if anyone who's watching this did get a chance to read the SportsRunDown.com preview for this game, but I did say both teams to score and over 2.5 were really, really good bets. They were very, very low odds, and we got all 3 of them now. So we got the win, the both teams to score, and the over. So very, very happy with the way that game has panned out. Let's go, Manolo. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how we feel about it. Lovely stuff. I don't think you told us in the comments, you doubled it up with the PSG game. Are they the only 2 bets that you have? So the 2.5 goals in PSG and 3.5 goals in Belgium. So hopefully that's all you have, and a bit of time for those goals to come in Paris.
Yeah, it's end to end in Paris anyway. Neymar has just had a shot on target. They're on an attack here again, PSG. It's actually good defending. I thought it was by May Font, but it isn't. And Lille are back on the attack now. So it's end to end this game. 2-on-2 at the minute. Could be making it a 3-on-2. Edge of the box. Shoot, Yilmaz. Oh, there has to be a shot on target.
He did, yeah.
He didn't finish. That's David as well, after having 2 shots on target. Ball bounced him at the penalty spot. And
that's 3 for David, by the way.
Over. He should be burying that.
David hit it wide, though, did he?
No, I think it was over. Watching it back now, I don't know whether they're going to give that as a cross or a shot for Yilmaz. I would give it as a shot because I have it back, but the bookies will probably give it as a cross.
I'm looking at
365 as a shot on target anyway for Yilmaz. But, you know, it's...
he had one anyway.
He had one, so it needs to go to 2 slots.
No, I mean, the live match screen, it came up just that moment. It said that he, in that play, has a shot on target. Not just that he has one, but that he just got one.
Okay, I'll check back in a second on it. But yeah, really entertaining game, and the over 2.5 goals is definitely in play anyway.
I'm watching the Betfair live stats. They put David down as a shot and a shot on target. Then they took the shot on target away, so it's just counted as a shot off target. And Yilmaz never moved, so they're not giving us a shot anyway.
Of course they're not.
Oh,
the pups.
PSG on the attack here now again. So this game has just gone end to end.
Is it worth backing a goal?
Yeah, I'll check what price it is now. So it's 2-9 for over 1.5. Over 2.5 is 5-4. And that's actually a decent price because, you know, like if Lille are playing like this when they're 1 goal ahead, they're not going to start playing for a draw if it goes 1-1.
That's true.
Over 2.5, 5-4 seems like a decent bet. But you can't, like, this has a classic look of PSG just having a sucker punch and, you know, getting 2 late goals and beating them, because you can't miss the chances that Lille are playing against a team like, or missing against a team like PSG. So
I'm going to go against
by the
my
way,
own.
is 87th minute now, and it's still 2-0. Considering they're up 2-0 after 35 minutes, this is pretty disappointing. And, you know, with the disallowed goal and all for Hertha, but there should be a bit of injury time after that injury, red card, VAR review and all that. I'd be expecting at least 5 minutes. But yeah, of normal time, we've only 3 left and still waiting on a goal.
I'm going to back 2 goals in Paris and 1 in Belgium and 1 in the Dundalk game. The Dundalk game, I've been watching Belgium for the last 2 or 3 minutes, but up until then, it was just ridiculously open. I think if Waterford don't score, Dundalk sure it will. The Belgium game, this could be 3-3. It's still 3-1 since the goal, and it was I can't decide. I've watched the replay about 5 times here. If the Oostende goal was a deflection or if it was a really, really good finish, I can't see it in enough detail. Since then, Oostende have had 2 really good chances. One went half a foot wide, and the other one was a great save out of the keeper. Both shots from the right-hand side of the box into the far left kind of side netting. Well, neither made it into the side netting, but really, really open. They're pushing really hard. And, you know, either way, get caught in the counter or score, pull one back. I don't really like to back goals in already high-scoring games, but I like that one. So I've put that on. It is 4-1. 2 goals in Paris, 1 in Belgium, 1 in Ireland. Someone let a sigh out there. What's going on?
Just Hoffenheim had a shot that drifted wide. Never really threatened, I guess, but I was hoping anyway.
Okay.
But yeah, that's it. It's going into the 89th minute now, so time is ticking. I'll let you know when they show how much injury time there's going to be. I'm still hopeful that there'll be a decent few minutes, and you know that might give us a chance.
So lads, Di Maria has had a second shot on target, I think.
Lovely.
So that leg should be in, unless they were showing his shot from the first half, which I doubt, because they're showing a few highlights here. And there's actually been another corner or 2 as well. So this bet could come down to Jose Font getting a yellow card. Kind of feeling a bit bad now, though, so disrespectful for him that I want him to get do me a favour. But it hasn't been awarded as a shot on target on Betfair yet, so I don't know why that is, but they've shown it live here. Was definitely a shot on target, so maybe it's just slow to update.
Yeah. We have Amatayo, a sucker punch that could go very wrong in 10 minutes. Yeah, that is true. They're certainly leaving it very, very late here. So, yeah, that is the truth. It's a bit quiet. I know, obviously, the League One game is getting all the attention, but the Championship game has gone a bit flat, Gary. Still 1-0. Probably not worth going back there much more.
No, so I still think that we could go close. Like, I'd be surprised that there wasn't another goal in this game. I just hope it comes. If it comes in the next 10 minutes, that'll give us 15 minutes to cheer on, you know, the bet. But yeah, it kind of, instead of being attacking both ends, it's all around midfield at the minute. So nothing to really report.
The winner here, just 5 minutes less after I said it. Oh no, he's going to be offside. Mechelen put the ball in the back of the net. Really nice lob over the keeper. 4-1, bringing in the first leg of that treble, but I'd say it's already ruled off. I'm looking at it here. He's definitely offside, so forget it. I was celebrating prematurely there. Waterford game still pretty open, not as exciting as it was the first half of the second half, but still 15 plus injury time to go there.
I'm just engrossed in the last few minutes of this Bundesliga match, but I mean, it's just a free out now to Hertha after a bit of a promising Hoffenheim attack. Oh no, in fact, sorry, it's a free in, so that's better.
Much better.
Yeah, it's a free in. So hopefully they'll throw a few players into the box here. They've kind of been just toying with Hertha more than anything. They're not really going at it with any real ambition. They're just, you know, playing the ball out to the wings and kind of seeing if they can beat the defender, and if not, they'll play the safe pass back into the center of the pitch, like, you know, that sort of way.
A perfectly reasonable thing to do when you're 2-0 up.
Absolutely. They don't care if they don't get over 2.5 goals.
Yeah. Waterford attack here starting to look a bit promising. Putting together a few nice passes outside just a little bit outside the Dundalk box. So hopefully leads to something. Right on the other end, Mechelen are under a bit of pressure here now. Oostende, great cross in. off the crossbar. Oh, still in play. I don't know. Throw to Mechelen, but really going for it.
Yeah, it's the 92nd minute. In fact, it's nearly up now in the Hoffenheim game, but they haven't shown. I haven't spotted how many minutes injury time they're playing. I think it just says +3 on the screen, but I'm looking at quite a small screen. So if we've only a minute left, this is looking.
It's actually so frustrating that with those 2 goals being in early, like, you know.
Yeah, 35
awful.
minutes. They were 2-0. Yeah, they have a 3-on-3 here now. With a player coming in onto the box, swung back in. Oh, headed over the bar. Oh no, it didn't even make it over the bar. But
headed toward the bar.
Yeah, it kind of went out toward the side of the box. I don't know how he even hit it. The defender would have been happy with that header. That's probably it now. I'd say that's the last chance. Oh, the defender did actually get to it, in fairness. Yeah, it was a defensive clearance. That makes more sense.
I said earlier, by the way, this Waterford game was going to have a lot of corners, or it had a lot of early corners. It's now 13, so they're flying in there. 6 for Dundalk, 7 for Waterford. So a lot of shooting in that game, kind of an indication of how open it's been. So that is the story there. Still end-to-end in Belgium as well.
Forest have had a good opportunity there in QPR. Forest, the keeper pulled off a good save. And PSG are ringing the changes now. So I think that was a triple substitution that occurred. It's too small on my screen to see who came off. So I need to wait a second and check that. There's also been 4 yellow cards, all for Lille, but one of them hasn't been front. So
the hardest part of the same game multis to get right, really, I think.
Yeah, everybody's putting in like feisty challenges apart from the one that I want, you know. So.
It's full time there in Germany anyway, so that's dead. And unfortunately, that's a treble over, which was looking pretty promising for a while.
Disappointing, but got a good run out of it. I still hope this QPR bet can land.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get 2 of the 3 in anyway.
Yeah, be going away.
And at least it won't be the last one. Like if the first 2 had come in and you were just waiting on that German game, it would have been more gutting. But it'd be nice for the QPR game to come in now, regardless. Yeah, there's something we've spoken about before, but a red card like that, it does just kill. You know, if you've the opportunity to cash out when a red card happens. But often it's in games like that where the red card comes a bit too late, because that card must have been only within 2 or 3 minutes of the Hertha disallowed goal. Like they were really pushing for it, and then they went down to 10 men, and that was it. You know, they were out of it, and Hoffenheim didn't need to do any more.
Disallowed goals as well seem to wreck the momentum in the game often.
Yeah,
as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like I think if you're supporting a team, if you're cheering on your own team and they concede and then it's ruled out, it feels like such a second wind. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so this Waterford game is just really strange. The disallowed goal in Belgium has probably ended my in-play treble, but it's just chance after just up and down the pitch they're going. So 10 minutes to go there, by the way. I'm going to tell you, Slats, sorry about Hoffenheim. I had my fingers crossed for an additional goal, football, and its intrigues. Yeah, so that's to you, Slats.
Nice one, yeah. Yeah, it happens. Yeah, you think you're flying it with 2 or 3 goals up after a little over half an hour, but what can you do?
Definitely the intrigues. If only we could figure those intrigues out.
That's why we do it, though. If we knew how it was going to end, we wouldn't be here, would we?
Oh, exactly, yeah. Be sitting in Barbados somewhere sipping cocktails. PSG, like they're so open at the back now that, like, I wouldn't back Lille because they're 8-13, but if Lille get a second goal, it's game over. And as a PSG, are just leaving themselves really, really open at the back. So,
yeah, I want to check something here. I think we missed a trick tonight, guys. Let me check the thing. Oh, no, we didn't. I've just seen our old favourite from the Friday bet long, Nicholas Storm, has just been substituted off. He didn't score though, but he did set up the first two, so 2 assists for Mr. Storm, but no
Still
goal.
flying, so is he?
Yeah, he's in great form this season. It could be an angle in the future weeks. So anyone who wasn't with us the last couple of weeks, we backed Nicholas Storm to score. He obliged, and he's really in great form. He's never been much of a goal-scoring threat throughout his career, but last season and this season, he's been really, really playing a lot better than ever before. He's getting on a bit now. He's in his late 20s, so an angle to keep an eye out for someone to shoot or score in any future games for Mechelen.
And even when he's not scoring, he does seem to be assisting a lot as well. Like, he's just having a fine season so far, in fairness.
Yeah, he's probably giving up the fags or something, and he's just having a new lease of life. Yeah. Just slowly starting to peter out a bit in Waterford, Dundalk here. The win is looking unlikely now, 82 minutes gone, but pull one back. Could be the double chance that we talked about. 20 minutes to go in Belgium, still need 1 goal there for the in-play bet, and then obviously it's all coming down to PSG. What's on the clock there, Gary? Probably about 70 odd or...
Sorry, I was just checking out my stats there. Marquinhos actually got his head on a corner there a second ago, so excited by that. It's just 69 minutes 30 seconds on my clock, so still plenty of time. I said for PSG to get back into it, plenty of time for Yilmaz and Marquinhos to get their shots on target. It's a pity that header wasn't on target. Just went over the bar. And then I said if I can get a Jose Font yellow card and 4 more corners, I'd be absolutely delighted.
Corners, though, like we said it before, 1 can easily lead to 2 or to 3. So
how many corners do you need, Gary? Sorry, over 11.5, is it?
No, 10.5.
I'm seeing 8 now on.
Oh, are you? Sorry, when I looked it was 7. So 3 more corners and a Jose Font yellow card will do nicely. I'm getting
3 corners in 20 minutes is very doable.
Yeah, so I put £10 on to return 767, and I'm being offered a £50 cash out at the minute. Now I'm not going to take it because I'd be absolutely sick if I did, but
absolutely.
It's not too bad to see the profit there anyway. So fingers crossed. I said if Font gets a yellow card, that will go up significantly. I'd say it'd probably go up to 300-400 of a cash out if Font can get.
Surely you take that, would you?
Card. I don't know, for the excitement, and I think if I was sitting on my couch and not live on the stream, I probably would. But everybody watching in can cheer it on then.
Yeah.
Yeah, the corners line is still 10, like, so yeah, you'd be getting probably about half your possible return as a cash out, I guess.
Yeah, 20 minutes for 3 corners, and as I said, like, PSG have to attack. That usually translates into corners because you see more shots, etc. So at least that's my logic anyway. I'm not too sure exactly whether the stats would back that up or not, but
yeah. Dangerous attack here for Waterford. They're making their way down the pitch and fouled, very similar to the free that we mentioned earlier. Picked up a yellow card. I didn't see which Dundalk player got booked, and now it's kind of that pressure they've got on again. So, like I said, they've just lost the ball. The double chance is still on there, 6+ injury time, but the winner is looking unlikely now. The clock is very much against us. Belgium match is still so open. A very cynical foul. You were talking about the PSG game, so I didn't want to interrupt, Gary, by one of the Mechelen players. He just come on as a sub, and just the Oostende centre mid got past him, and he just grabbed him across the back of the shoulders and tossed him onto the ground. Very, very cynical. And free kick came to nothing. The Oostende centre forward accidentally handballed it when the ball got swung in, so free out, and got a bit flat now again, but really open up until about 90 seconds ago.
PSG's had a glorious chance. I think it was Neymar down the left-hand side, cross it in. I can't see who got the header. Icardi, maybe? He's heading it from it's Icardi. He's probably 8 yards out in the centre of the goal and heads it over. Awful header from him, but that could have knocked him back in. Yeah. you have to at least hit the target from there. Like, he wasn't even under that much pressure from the defender. So PSG going out to 7-1 at the minute is kind of a tempting price for me, to be honest. Like,
yeah, there's plenty of time left. It's like, it's that thing. If they get one, they've got the momentum and, you know, the kind of impetus to go for it. Like,
like how late would that goal have to? How late would that goal have to be before they're not odds on to win? Like, surely if they score before 80, they're going to be like 4-5 or 10-11 to win the game.
And toward 85, but certainly 80, yeah.
Yeah. So they're at 8-1 now.
I wonder what you get them on the exchange. I'm just going to check the exchange because you could get them as wide as.
There's a goal.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was like they're even money.
Marquinhos got the goal.
Oh, no way.
Shot on target for the 33-1.
Sweet.
That would be a great.
That'll be some kick in the backside if it doesn't count. His shot that didn't count earlier. Sorry.
Exactly, and if they had to get the penalty, he would have been taking penalties as well. Yeah, great break down the left-hand side. Di Maria dinks it to the back post. And I don't know what Marquinhos was doing there, but he volleys it in at the back post.
But that's what I said. When they need someone to grab the game by the scruff of the neck, he's the player who does it. I know Messi scores the wonder goals this season, but I think Marquinhos, like when Thiago Silva started to fade a little bit and obviously then left the club, I think Marquinhos has been their kind of leader.
I'm absolutely sick I didn't back them at 8-1 now. They're into 6-4 to win now.
Oh, I'm surprised they're even that much.
Yeah, me too. There's still value in them at 6-4. That's a great
and add insult to injury, they've just taken Yilmaz off.
No way.
Yeah.
What a stinker that is. I mean, I have Marquinhos for 2 shots on target. Oh, shit. It seems to have gone to VAR now, unless there's another goal that's...
No, it is at VAR, but I can't see why it would be suspended or why it would be ruled out. It's like probably offside they're looking at, but it didn't look offside to me. Oh, so the Icardi kind of got pushed into the keeper and impeded him, and that's what they're looking at.
I think it's okay. The odds have come back on.
Yeah, the ref has given it, but that's what they're looking at. So the defender pushed Icardi when the ball got crossed, and he went into the keeper. So they were just checking to see was there like interference, but there was nothing Icardi could do because he was pushed. So
yeah, exactly. If he's pushed by the defender, that's not even a conversation. You know what I mean? It's tough.
PSG are over 2-1 now on the exchange. That seems generous.
LB, should you do your bet with Betfair?
Yeah.
You might want to go in and cash out. They're offering me 50 quid cash out.
Oh. Why don't I want to cash out, Gary?
Oh, sorry, I didn't know. Sorry. They're offering me 50 quid cash out for a player that's being subbed off. So.
Do you know what I think it is that there's the chance that the bet gets reassessed.
Oh, God, well, I've cashed out, so...
I'm taking it too.
Well, do you want to go halves? I'll transfer you 25.
I've already done it. I did it as soon as you said it. So anyone still watching us, that's the scenario that we talked about before.
Anybody who's watching us, don't tell Betfair.
Yeah, anyone watching us, mum's the word. Keep it between us.
If they change that to that he did get a goal, then we should be able to claim the whole amount prior to
you
us
cashed out of a bet. You can't claim the winning bet then. Otherwise, you just put the bet on cash out.
It would have come in before we cashed out.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd ever win that conversation. It does
I don't. But I think they'll come back and say, "Oh no, you cashed out and you shouldn't have been able to because he was gone off the pitch." But if it happened the other way around, we should be getting the full payout, and they probably wouldn't give it to us because we did cash out.
Yeah.
We can have that argument if we see it. I'll be checking whoscored.com to see because I think that's who they use for their statistics.
Yeah, I think that it does say in the I complained to one of them before. I think it was even Paddy Power about just dodgy cash outs, and they basically said we have no obligation to give you a cash out, and when we put it there, you make your choice and it's on you. Now obviously that works the other way, that if they give you one that, like you say, Gary, where they shouldn't have given it to you and you took the money, they shouldn't be able to come claw it back. But yeah, Anyway, 4 minutes to go in the Waterford game, like 90 plus, and it's 4 minutes added on. Waterford out to 1,000 to 1 here, so I think we can forget about that. And PSG, you said you're looking at them on the exchange, lads. What are they up to?
2 to 1.
They're nearly 3 to 1 now on the exchange.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 2.96. Oh, sorry, that is 2 to 1. Sorry.
Sorry. Oh, they must have come in a little then, because they were 3.05. And I've Martinez for two or more shots on target at 33 to 1. It's only
every time you say his name, you say it differently.
Well, at least that way I might get it right once.
It has a great chance here because Neymar has just been taken out again. So they're going to have a free kick coming in from the left-hand side. So, like, Joe, it's going to be aimed towards Marquinhos.
Yeah, I mean, they're only offering my stake back, basically. I only threw a $5 on it, but, potential return 170, and they're offering me 523. Seems a bit measly.
Yeah. I wouldn't be taking any cash out on it because
I won't be taking my $5 back anyway.
Wonder did anybody in the that's been viewing in? So, Amateo, Safian, Paul Kelly, Manolo. Did any of you guys tail us with either the Marquinhos, David and Yilmaz bet, or go like slats and do Marquinhos 2 shots on target? Let us know.
Yep. By the way, Oostende have now pulled the second one back, so it's 3-2 in that game. They're still 60 to 1, 10 minutes to go, 5.5 to 1 for the draw, and 5 to 1 on for the Yellow Reds of Mechelen. It is so that game. It's just the Waterford one that's let me down in terms of the second goal. So I had 1 goal in Belgium, it's in. A goal in Paris, it's in. Actually, I need a second goal in Paris. Apologies, and then obviously the Waterford one is going to let it down. So just that
Waterford game is just about wrapping up, is it?
About 75 seconds based on the clock I'm looking at. But yeah, it's very, very close.
So Manolo did not tail us in. So I suppose if you weren't using Beffer, it probably would have been a loser, and that's a good thing. But if you were using Beffer, you would have been able to cash out for essentially 4 to 1 is what I got, which I'm happy about. And obviously Slat still has that 33 to 1 shot riding with 10 minutes to go in the game, so still has a chance.
Marconas.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you, not on it either. Paul, don't have access to those markets. Yeah, you're not on it. Oostende, DB, small stakes. DB, is that double chance? Is that draw and win? I think.
Maybe draw no bet, maybe so.
Or could be draw no bet, or maybe it's DC and it's just a typo double chance. Yeah, that's looking good now. I backed Mechelen myself. The odds don't look quite right to me. Like Mechelen 5 to 1 on here, having thrown away a 2 over 3 goal lead. So not sure if there's a bit of value there now in an Oostende equalizer at now about 6 to 1. Waterford dangerous attack here, pretty good chance. 4 minutes are gone on the clock, so if they don't score, this game is over. I'm just going to keep watching this here. Don't know how long the ref is going to give, and if you're a Drogheda fan, hopefully he wouldn't give much. Waterford fans obviously be hoping for a little bit more. It's 20-odd seconds now past the final time. Over. Lost the ball, game over. So that's finished 1-0. So that's a disappointing one there, but other results have gone our way. So for me personally, happy with that. PSG 3 to 1 now. What's left in that? Probably.
I'm back in PSG here. I can see them nicking one towards the end. So I'm going in on it. Only getting 12 to 5, but I think it's decent value.
Yeah. Are you watching that game, Gary? Yeah.
I am watching it, yeah. Now, it's still fairly end-to-end, so, I actually wouldn't put anybody off a bet on Lille because they could get a counter-attack and score, but just the way it's been building here with a lot of fouls by the Lille players. As I said earlier, Lille had 4 players on yellow cards. I think Yilmaz is one of them, so he's gone off. So there's still 3 of those players on with yellow cards, and one of them is the right back. He's up against Neymar, so like a sending off there could just like turn the game. So yeah,
you have to
that's
think as well. PSG, the big name, the home team, that there'll be a lot of minutes added on. Even there's been a few incidences in the half as well.
Oh, sorry, nearly a ball crossing into the back post. I'm not too sure who it was with the header. I doubt it was Neymar because he wouldn't be going up for a header, but just the defender did well to clear.
No sign of that yellow card you needed, I take it, Gary, either, right? And it still looks to be 8 corners, which is looking a bit
Yeah,
tight.
so the cash out on that bet has gone from £50, so £40 profit, down to £8.43. So looking at a basically £1.60 loss. Lille are on the attack here. Every time Lille have gone on the attack, they've had 3 versus 3 or an overload. It's mental. Like I can't believe they haven't got more than one goal in the game. Given the amount of attacks they've had, where they've outnumbered the PSG defenders.
Yeah. 2-1 on for a goal, or 1.5 if you're a decimal man like Paul for a goal in this game. Seems a little bit on the stingy side to me. I know you like a goal, Gary, but 7-2 for PSG to win, or 10-1 plus for Lille seems a much better proposition than just 1-2 on for, or 1-2 for a goal.
I'd agree. I'd pick who I fancy to get the winner, and I'd back them instead of just backing any goal.
Mateo thinks I'm a PSG fanboy by his comment in the oh my god. Just missed an absolute sitter.
What's he trying to claim? A corner? Is it that's just that desperation of hitting a shot wide and you try to claim a corner to make it look as if you were
you're trying to claim you should be scoring that. He's saying the keeper got what we'll see here. I don't think they gave the corner anyway.
It did come off the keeper, in fairness.
Yeah, it did come off the keeper, yeah.
Just the side of his boot, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, a really good save. Just while we were talking, it's been an absolute screamer in QPR and Nottingham Forest, but it was the 90th minute, so 1-1. Oh, it wasn't a screamer because it got a deflection I didn't see initially, but it's 1-1 there. 3 minutes left, potentially get the over 2.5 in. I know it doesn't really matter, but
be nice to get it anyway, just for the stats.
Exactly, yeah. And that game really should have ended over 2.5 goals. There's been lots of chances. Just the both sets of strikers haven't had their finishing boots on.
Yeah, I mean, I think the picks were right for the ACA tonight. We just got a bit unlucky, and that's going to happen too. But
it's very disappointing because it was the most 2-0 up after no time. It just felt like we'd had taken that goal that game as given.
It just felt at the end, done, take it off.
Yeah, we would have had this 90-minute sweat here in QPR, Nottingham Forest, to try and win the ACA. It would have been nice.
It would have been unreal actually with that late goal going in and just a few more minutes to keep the hope alive.
Yeah. And are you still confident on the win, Gary? I'm looking at it here, and that clock is starting to look dangerous.
In PSG?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know whether I'd be going in now or not.
But they'd have drifted more in the last 5 minutes. Still only 4-1.
Yeah, I'd probably want a bit more than 4-1 given that there's only 3 minutes left in normal time. But PSG have them pen back here as El Jose Font went in for a challenge. But he didn't get carded. But they're on the attack. Nottingham Forest nearly scored. They've got a corner here, 40 seconds to go. So this would have been an unbelievable end to the bet.
Yep.
I'm just waiting for a free kick or a corner for PSG now for any set piece for
Marquinhos.
In that Spanish second division game, Almeria, it is 89 minutes, still 1-0. So, Paul in the comments, that was a good shout earlier. I forget who asked the question. Maybe it was Tayo.
I think it was Sastian who asked.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
So apologies. Yep. So that's looking like a good shout. Hopefully, you managed to get a small bet on that, or maybe you're a fan. Who knows?
Yeah, they were close to even money for the win there, so that's not bad going. And looking at the stats, they've been dominated, but they've held on to that lead. It looks to me like they're only shot on target.
Oh, goal.
Di
Maria.
Lovely. Wow, 1.07 now on the exchange. That was a great shout, Gary.
So I think that lands Manolo's bet as well. So fair play, Manolo. Well done.
Congratulations. Third goal's coming. It feels like it. Well, you timed that pretty well. That was 1 minute ago, and that goal has come. So, goal. Manolo, tell us what lotto numbers you're picking this weekend. We might have a small bet on those as well.
Yeah, your NFL against the spread.
Yeah, everything you'd want. That's actually great. That's a very profitable little run for you at the end of the show there, Gary. And
yeah, nice.
I'm going to tell you in the comments, you can see why Gary has such high hopes. He's back to his best now at the in-play betting. So very, very nice.
That was a lovely finish, actually.
Really
yeah, they seem to be checking something again. So I don't want to get my hopes too high at the minute. Still suspended, and they're showing an awful lot of replays for my liking. So fingers crossed that it has landed.
Don't see anything wrong with it.
No, I didn't see anything wrong with it either, but it's just the fact that it's still suspended and that they're showing.
It's given PSG a yellow card, but is that just something to do with the celebration or something that happened after the goal? Or I don't know.
While you're celebrating,
I can't see anything on my screen now. So
Mechelen scored a fourth, by the way, 4-2. So Paul, your double chance is probably over. 200-1 now for the draw there, 90 minutes. But yeah, pretty happy with my calls in that game. The odds are back now for the PSG game, and they're 10-1 on here. So I'd say that's as good as.
Well, I'm seeing them 1-33, and Manolo has said on Facebook, just congrats on hitting in the end with the in-play bet. So technically, I haven't landed that yet because I actually need PSG to win, so I can cash out for most of it, but it's not the way I like to do things. So
I can't see PSG slipping up from here.
No, looks to be a bad challenge on Angel Di Maria here, so everything has gone suspended. I'm not too sure who put in the tackle. I don't think it was Jose Font, unfortunately. It looks to be Ronaldo. He stood on his knee. I'd say that's a red card going to be coming for Lille. It wasn't Ronaldo. He's one of the subs that come on. Let me check here and see. It looks as though it's going to be a red card, I'd say. Trying to get, maybe it is Ronaldo. It's Renato Sanchez. It looks like.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, it was back. Gary was right all along. You wizard, you. So that's a nice way of phrasing it. Yeah, that was a great one. I was hesitating. I was hesitating myself to get on, and I regret missing it now. Very good shout, though.
Well, I'm just sick. I missed the 9-1 because or 8-1 was it? We were kind of humming along.
8-1.
Martinez goal came like.
That's something we always say, and especially if you look at a lot of other kind of people online who talk about, maybe professional tipsters and stuff, they say that all live betting is kind of it's not a great way to do it. I think their point is the odds aren't great, but I mean, when you look at that, I mean, we didn't get the 9-1, but we did call it out. So hopefully somebody managed to back it. Like, there's so much value in play because you get a great read on games when you're watching them. You can see it coming. Like, you didn't just pick. I mean, how many games do we have on here tonight? You didn't just pull it out of the air. You picked that game as the one to have a comeback. So it's it's great to see.
Yeah, fingers crossed they can cling on. There hasn't been a decision made on this sending off yet. On my screen, they're showing replays of the goals over and over again. So it's kind of strange it doesn't show the VAR kind of decision-making process, but I'll let you know when it comes back what's happened.
Yeah. It's actually suspended on the exchange, yeah.
Yeah, everything, yeah. It's just come back now. I think Di Maria has been subbed off. Yeah.
All in the comments, you got on the PSG win. Very good stuff, Paul. Delighted that you got on that.
That's great.
You knew Slat, the only two people involved in the show who didn't get on it.
I was going to get on it at half time, and then you convinced me of the accumulator.
Don't put it on me.
Well, I can't really complain because you had the 40-1 halftime treble a couple of weeks ago that came in, and I tailed you on that. So I was always
a bit of credit in the bank.
I was going to say, lads, the bet isn't in yet because Lille didn't get a player sent off and they're on the attack here. So don't want to be counting the money just yet. It's not like PSG to kind of collapse like this, but they just started to sit back now. So
They're 1 to 100 though, and I'd say even you'd get a pretty decent cash out on the exchange. Do you have a cash out available?
The exchange are only 1.8, 1.08.
I have, but I hate cashing out.
1.08 isn't great, really.
No. Maybe the smart play is a small bet on the draw at 17 to 1.
Yeah, maybe even just to cover your.
I'm seeing on Betfair 22 to 1 for the draw. I'm going to let it ride though for the.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to throw it away from here. Can't see it.
But it's over in Belgium. Now.
Yeah, could do with a
full time.
Well, no, a handball or something from Jose Font.
No, because that'd be a penalty then for. I suppose for them it wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Wrong corner. The games now. All my games are over, so ended 4-2 in Belgium.
Book him, ref. Font is in an argument here with I think it might be Marquinhos. It's definitely one of the PSG defenders, and the ref has blown for and called the two of them over, and he's arguing with the ref. Give him a yellow card. It's actually Kimpembe that he's just run away from the ref as well. So just give me a yellow card, ref.
Is that all you're missing, Gary?
A yellow card and a corner, I think, but it's a corner, so that corner could lead to another corner. It's a long shot, but you're gonna cheer for anyway. I don't think you gave him it.
It nearly was another corner after, but it's gone for a goal kick.
That's gone. Not bad for a 75 to 1 shot.
No, plenty of value.
Bar, so, yeah.
Here's a weird one, right? I'm looking at the exchange. Paris are 100, 1.01, but under 3.5 goals is 1.07. Surely they're the same.
Well, no. If PSG score that, they still win the match.
Yeah, good point.
They don't. Yeah.
I wasn't thinking clearly there at all, yeah. Right, so pretty much at the end of the show here, provided this just wraps up in the next couple of minutes in Paris, but we really do appreciate everybody who was watching along and commenting. I'm glad you got a couple of winners each.
In Paris.
Yeah. It's full time, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So that's the end of the live football tonight, guys. Like we said, if we've got a few followers, a few subscribers, we really appreciate the
thanks everyone for getting involved. It really adds to it. It makes it more enjoyable, and it's great to follow other people's bets as well, and at least some of us can beat the bookies.
Yeah, it's really
exactly. That's it. We do really love actually the conversations with people. So I'd say tonight could be our longest chat chain that we've had on any of the shows. So really, really appreciate that. For the win, we bet you win. Obviously, the bet didn't win tonight, so there's no prize to give to anybody. But we'll be back every Friday with the same concept. So we'll pick a bet each during the week. We'll put it on before the games on a Friday night. If it wins, we give it to one of you guys, and then we'll be putting on live bets throughout the show as well. So, Manolo, good show, guys. See you on the next one. Yeah, start of followers. Really appreciate that. We'd love to see you back. Familiar faces always make these things a lot more enjoyable, and then a lot of comments as well on YouTube. So hopefully you guys, I think we've seen a few subscriptions there. So you guys will see when we're back. It'll be the same time Friday night anyway. So always 7:30 Irish time or UK time, and an hour later in Europe and a few hours earlier in the US. So we're going to take a small break now. We won't end the stream. We'll just take a quick break. We put on some holding music and we'll have a change of face. So Slats will leave us, and a former colleague and friend PK will be joining us, and we're going to talk through some American sports, the NFL in particular, and we'll make our circuit picks. Mateo, knowing you guys is the prize. Well, that's a very nice comment to
Mateo trying to butter his club so he gets the next.
Yeah, sweet.
That will work. Just to confirm, that definitely will add to your chances.
Yeah, you sweet talker. So really appreciate it, guys. Hopefully a couple of you got on Gary's winner at the end, and we'll see you in a couple of moments.
Cheers. Bye.
Welcome back. Thank you for sticking around. Anyone who's still with us on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. We wrapped up a very profitable night in the football show, and then we're going to dive into the NFL Circa Million. So anyone who's not seen us before, we are entered Sports Rundown into the Circa Millions against the spread competition in Vegas, and we make our picks here live on air. The only drawback is we missed the Thursday games, but we do it to have a very interactive process, and probably last night, I'm kind of glad that we missed the Thursday game because I would have got that one so wrong. So anyway, Gary, anyone is still with us? Anyone who was here earlier in the show will recognize Gary, and PK is back after a break last week, but he's been with us the good few weeks before that. So as always, PK, thanks for having you on. Really appreciate the input.
No problem. My pleasure, guys. Looking forward to it.
Yeah,
sorry, just before we get into the NFL, Stu Mack has a bit of a hard look story in the comments. So commiserations, Stu. He's saying that Jack Colback's goal has cost him a massive vaca, so with a 22-fold that would have paid 43k, and it's down to a 9-fold now. So I assume he's done some sort of like lucky 15 or some sort of combination bet to have that hedge in there with the 9-fold. But unlucky Stu, those things are hard to take. I had one last week where I had a 25-fold of over 1.5 goals to pay $7,000, and I got let down by one game. The game finished 0-0. But the other legs were all in after like 80 minutes or so. So yeah, can be frustrating, but keep the head up, and at least you got a payment back, and you can go again.
Funnily, I backed both teams to score in that game, so I was kind of happy when he scored in the 94th minute. But honestly, I'd give it back for this guy's 23-fold.
Yeah, exactly.
I apologize.
That's something about gamblers. I think every punter out there loves to see other people win. You know, you see somebody else win a 22k, you're just delighted for them.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. That can be a once in a lifetime bet for people. So I wouldn't begrudge anyone it.
None in a lifetime bet in my case. It's land one of those big ones.
Loads of time left, LB.
Yeah. That's the plus side of it, right? We'll dive in here. So anyone who's not familiar with Circa Millions, it's 5 games in the NFL each week against the spread. So you're not picking the outright winner, you're picking them with the handicap or against the handicap, and the best at the end of the season wins a share of $4 million. So big prizes. And that's why we've got the NFL hit squad here, Gary and PK, to talk us through it. So first game up is, actually before we get into this, because I want to get this out of the way, because I don't want it to come up later on. It's been hanging over me all week. Gary's bragging moment last week. He was very, very heavy on the Buccaneers, and for some reason he went with the Falcons instead, and we didn't win that line, but he got the Buccaneers call pretty much bang on. So
yeah, but the Falcons literally are, I suppose the Falcons, for lack of a better term, like what we were sitting there chatting, texting each other, going, "Oh, that's in the bag."
Nice. I thought it was over.
All of a sudden,
never again are they going into any sort of bet. And they let my other bet down as well. So the treble I put on the website. So Kyle Pitts, he had like 170 yards and no touchdowns. So frustrating for them to let down 2 bets. But I don't know what Matt Ryan was doing. You know, I think they had a 6-point lead with, I don't know, 3 minutes to go or something like that. Just keep the ball safe.
Yep.
You know, if you have to punt it and let them come the length of the field. Don't fumble it in your own half. It was just
devastating.
so frustrating, but classic Falcons, as I said, they'll never go into another bet of mine again.
No. Same. They're a disaster.
Yeah. And speaking of disasters, right? We got the first game up is the Miami Dolphins. They go to Buffalo. The Bills are 14-point favorites at home. The Bills off of a bye week. They probably needed that after the upset in Nashville the week before. Miami ground out a win in Foxborough in the first game of the season, their first game of the season. They've lost 6 on the bounce since then. But a couple of early blowouts have been kind of faded away, and they're losing by a field goal or less in 3 of their last 4 games. So any signs of recovery, PK, or will they just get stuffed in Buffalo?
I mean, these two teams have played already, and Buffalo won 35-0, right? Or was that last season maybe? But they've won the last 6 by an average of 20 anyway. And I don't see how that changes here. The Bills are going to come out with a chip on their shoulder after the way the game ended the last day for them. Against the Titans. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, Miami have lost to Jacksonville and Atlanta. It gives you absolutely zero confidence going into this. It's a scary line in terms of this. I don't think I could take it at 14, but I mean, if I was just betting my own money, I think I'd be inclined to take the Bills for sure. But I don't think I could put it in as 1-5 here.
You're right, by the way. They did beat them 35-0 earlier in the season. Yeah. Gary, what do you say on that one? Is the line too high?
No, the line is like, you can make, as PK said, you can make an argument that the line is too low. We discussed last week about these high lines. I think the Rams game was the one we discussed. And then if you look at the Rams game, did they go 10-0 behind, a few trick plays at the start, and all of a sudden you've got a mountain to climb. So there's no positives for the Dolphins. They have no chance of winning. I think the Bills will cover the spread, but won't put them into this because I think there's better opportunities in the other games. That's kind of how I'd surmise it.
Yeah, that's my take too. Like you said, we called that Rams game last week, and then it happened the way you said it, where it just, you're giving away whatever double-digit points, and then all of a sudden there's 10 on top of it, and it's nearly game over. It changes the complexion of the game as well. They're just going to be happy with the win at that point. So I agree with you both. I think they probably will cover. I'll be happy to back this myself, but considering what's at stake in the circuit, I think I'm just going to skip as well. So 3 leans, but no real desire to put that one in. So game 2, the Carolina Panthers travel to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. The Falcons are 3-point favorites here. Carolina's great start, 3-0, is now a distant memory. That's 4, I think, consecutive losses for them. Atlanta have 3 wins, but they are the Giants, the Jets, and the Dolphins. So not a huge amount you can take from those wins either. 3-point home favorites. Gary, what do you think? Falcons, your team.
Can we move on, please, and fast? Would be what I think. But the Falcons after last week, you couldn't trust them. I think they should win the game. Although the Panthers do have a decent enough defense, so it might turn into a low-scoring game similar to the Panthers game last week. But like, they're just on offense, they've fallen off a cliff. Neither team can be trusted. Like how Darnold against the Giants can play like that, it's beyond me. Especially a very, 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 very beat up Giants. So yeah, I'll take the Falcons if it would have gone to my head, but as we said, I'm not putting them in this.
Hey, just for the record, I'd lean the Panthers there, by the way, so won't be going in anyway. But PK, what are your thoughts?
Literally echo Gary. I mean, the Panthers have imploded big style from whatever 2 or 3-0. Falcons can't be trusted. The line's probably either side of this. If it was 3 either way, I don't think we can touch it regardless. So the 6-point swing. So it's a no go for me. Yeah.
Well, one reason why I consider the Panthers, I think all their losses have been pretty close games, so they haven't really gotten blown away. And I think a team is implosion likely as the Falcons. It seems like a good play. I'll probably back the Panthers this weekend, but not for this as well. It's way too important. So we move on now to the proper games, as we could call them. The Eagles go to Detroit, 2-5 against 0-7, so pretty poor season so far for both of these. Eagles 3.5-point road favourites. Eagles put up pretty reasonable scores in most of their games. They just can't seem to stop anybody. And the Lions have similar defensive problems, but can't seem to score really either. So what do you think? Is this line about right, PK, or is it a little bit off? Do you have a lean here?
Yeah, I think the line's about right. As you said, like the Detroit tend to start games on have good first halves and then just can't sustain it into the second half against the Rams last week and against Green Bay before. I know they're big games for them, but I couldn't touch this one either. The Eagles have been bad as well, and Detroit have been pretty good going forward. It could likely be a high-scoring game when you have half decent offenses against really bad defenses. So it's not a game I could touch. I'd lean Lions personally, but I wouldn't. It's not a game I want to go near.
Interesting. Gary, where do you stand on this one?
I would lean Eagles if I'm being totally honest. As you said, LB, they've racked up a couple of scores. They've been in a lot of the games they've played. They've kind of gone down by less than a touchdown, and a good few of them, they've been there or thereabouts, and they've had played against some decent teams, like 49ers, the Chiefs. They're not
the Cowboys, the Buccaneers.
Buccaneers. They played some decent teams. Miles Sanders being out is an obvious worry, but then you've got Gainwell coming in, and he's done all right. He's bagged a couple of touchdowns this season. So I'd be siding with the Eagles here. It was probably 6th on my list, so I wouldn't totally be discounting it, and I'd be happy for it to go in, but it's not part of my top 5.
I'm exactly the same as you. I think the Eagles win this. I thought when these opened up, I thought they were going to be -7 easily. I think they're going to absolutely blow them away. But for me, it's my 7th, I think, pick. So I have it down as a pick, but it's not one of my 5, only because there's better ones out there. And 2 not great teams against each other. It's much harder to predict, but I think they win this one. They win it well. I think the Lions are just, they put up, I'm looking at the scores here after they beat the 49ers in a low-scoring game, 20-odd against the Cowboys, 30 points against the Chiefs, 20-odd against the Buccaneers, 20-odd against the Raiders. Like, they're putting up scores against the best teams in the league. And I just think they're a good bit ahead of the Lions. So me and Gary both pick it, but not going in. And PK leans the other way around. So we can probably move past that one anyway, because not a huge consensus there. Next game up here is this is going to have my number 1 pick of the week. The Titans 5-2 travel to Indianapolis, take on the Colts, who are 3-4. Colts 3 wins have come against the 49ers and the Dolphins and the Texans. So sorry to say this, Gary, but 3 of the poorest teams around this season. And the Titans have beaten the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Colts already, but they're 2.5-point underdogs. So we go to you, Gary. What do you think of that?
I think that the Titans are the bet here. I know that you could say the Colts are kind of hitting a bit of form after the last 2 wins, but as you said, they haven't really beaten much. Very disappointed with the 49ers.
Me too, considering how many times I've backed them.
And very disappointed with the 49ers last week. I think that probably this line is an over-exaggeration on that performance, even though, as I said, they're starting to put stuff together. You just look at the Titans, they're cooking now, 3 wins in a row, beat the Chiefs, beat the Bills. Derrick Henry's getting into his groove. It's hard to see them being stopped. I think it's down to my number 2 pick. I think it has to go in if you guys are agreeing with it.
Hey, where do you stand on this one? Titans 2.5 road underdogs.
I'd like to say firstly that they didn't just beat the Chiefs. That was a bit of a that was that meme that says stop, or in the Simpsons, stop, they're already dead. You know that kind
of
yeah.
That's how I felt. But
held them to 3. They did annihilate them.
I have a question here though. The line early in the week was -1 Titans. How has it moved so much? I'm is there an injury that I don't know about, or?
Well, Julio Jones is out for the Titans, but they still have other power there, So
for that sort of move, I'd be having to think Tannehill or Henry was out. But if they're 2.5 with only a wide receiver out that hasn't had massive production this year, then it's a cert for me. I was just querying the move, the line. Like, if that's just sheer money on the Colts on the back of what they did against the 49ers last week, I mean, no. Titans are a lock for me.
Yeah, they have a little bit of, like, there's a few linebackers out. So Derek Robinson is on injured reserve. Jalen Brown is on injured reserve. And Rashad Evans is questionable for the game. So they have a few problems on defense. But I wouldn't, again, I wouldn't be writing them off because of that either.
Look at the scores they're putting up. Even if they have problems on defense, I don't think it's going to be an issue here.
You're keeping the Chiefs at 3 points. You don't have many problems on defense. I mean, the Colts have been all right the last couple of times. It looks like Carson Wentz is starting to get it together. But, like, I wouldn't go judging. Like, did you see the conditions in Santa Clara last weekend? Like, that was a crazy game. It was ridiculous. Like, so I wouldn't go judging anything in that game. But yeah, the Titans are a lock here at +2.5. I've taken them at -1 in our in-house competition, so I'm definitely taking them at +2.5 here.
Yeah, straight in. So that is a number one pick for me, and very similar for both of you guys here. So that has gone in. I was kind of thinking there couldn't be any disagreement on this line when I was looking at it. So hopefully we got it. And like you said, PK, the line is moved because of public money the other way. Give me a little extra boost of confidence. We move on now to, I think, the biggest line of the week, or certainly the biggest away favourite of the week, the Los Angeles Rams, -14.5 points in Houston. The Rams are 6-1, going about their business, but no real significant wins. Or the only one, was against Tampa Bay. No real other ones. They lost to Arizona, and that's the only loss on their record. Houston are a mess, 0-6 since that week 1 win over Jacksonville. But Houston are only 3-4 against the spread, so they are covering the high lines that are being put up against them. Where do you stand on this one? We'll go to you, PK. Is the line too high? 14.5 points?
Nope. Obviously the Rams weren't great against Detroit last week, but I like the Texans have offered nothing. They've scored under 10 points in the last 4 of their last 5. I mean, the Rams are going to score 30 plus here. Yeah, I mean, they just bulldoze them. I think, I think this is my number 3. I think you have to take it. Like that defensive line of the Rams, I think, will murder Davis Mills there, and I think that's just not going to look pretty at all. So if they can't score more than 10 against whatever, some mediocre competition or mediocre defenses, I mean, you don't have much hope against the Rams.
Yeah, I had to check it there because you said it. They put up 22 points against the Patriots, but then other than that, their last 4 games are 9-0, 3-5 points scored. So not setting the world alight. Gary, where do you think this one? PK seems to fancy the cover here, even though it's 14.5. Where do you stand?
Yeah. Again, the only thing is if the game started like last week, you'd be in a bit of trouble. But I think that they'd be a bit more clued in this week because I think they kind of went into last week's game a little bit kind of overconfident. And then you also had, the hoo-ha or furore around the quarterback situation. So with Stafford and Goff. So I think that the Lions probably played a bit above themselves because of that. And the trick plays at the start were probably because of that, because they wanted to try and get an early lead. So yeah, I'd take the Rams here all day long. There are other lines I like. So, if we don't put it in, I wouldn't be, upset about it, but I think they'll definitely win by more than 14.5. You just have to look at the power they have on offense. As PK said, they're going to be racking up 30, 40 points. The only reason they don't get to 40 points is if they take their starters off, which would be a sensible thing to do. But even at that, if you take Cooper Kupp out, you've still got people like Deshaun Jackson coming in who are, like Deshaun Jackson would probably start for the Texans. So, I think the Rams all day long.
So is that a pick for you, Gary, or a lean?
I had it as kind of, so 5 was on my list because of the high spread. So it's a pick for me, but if it's not in, I wouldn't be too upset about it.
Okay. Yeah, I like this one too. I do like it, but it was a bit high, so I left it out. So I think this is probably going to go in if we don't get agreement elsewhere. But we put that in as a light green agreement. The next game up, the Bengals go to New York, take on the Jets. They're 10.5-point road favourites. Joe Burrow and company, 2 losses so far to the Bears, which was an odd one, and then to the Packers, which is much more reasonable. The Jets have just 1 win. That overtime win against the Titans, which now looking back on it looks like a little bit of a fluke. The Jets are also the 2nd worst overall against the spread, just 1-5. For me personally, I don't like big lines, but I think I like the Jets even less. So for me, I'm quite hot on the Bengals here. Gary, where do you stand on this one?
Oh yeah, like the Bengals have to go in. They're my number 1 pick this week. Like as you said, how that Jets team beat the Titans.
The Titans threw that. The Titans lost that game. The Jets didn't
yeah,
win it.
but still, like even how they racked up that many points against them. What did they get? They got something like 26 or 27 points or something.
They won 27-24, didn't they?
Yeah. So if you look at all the other games, like they were shocking last week against the Patriots. Wilson's out now for a couple of weeks. There's just not really many positives. There was like after the Titans game, you were kind of going, oh well, they're getting their defense together, and they're going to hold them in games, and that could give them a chance. But even at that last week, the defense just seemed to collapse against the Patriots, up against the rookie QB, coming against Burrow, who's on fire, Jamar Chase, who's on fire, like the backups that the Bengals have, even tight end Uzama is starting to hit form. He got probably 3 touchdowns in his last 2 games, racking up a lot of yardage. So I just don't see how the Bengals don't. Again, are another team that you're like, if they get lower than 25 points, you'd be just shocked by it. And can I see the Jets racking up a score against the Bengals without Wilson in there? No, I can't. So I think Bengals have to go in, and it's as close to a certainty as you can get, in my opinion.
It was my number 2 overall, so I think we're pretty much aligned there. PK, where do you stand on this one?
Yeah, it's one I had to reconsider as the week has gone on. Yeah, I'm in agreement to have them number 3. I mean, the Jets were just too bad last week against the Pats to have any sort of confidence in holding. And as Gary said, like the Bengals just seem to be getting better and better on offense. Jamar Chase, like, I mean, this rookie of the year, he's way out in front for that one, I'd say. And Burrow's in line, or is putting an argument up for MVP himself, and Chase is probably in that discussion too, if you've been honest. So, I mean, yeah, Mixon, Azuma, yeah, they're dialing it up now. The Jets, yeah, 10.5, I think they cover.
Yeah, I agree with all that. So I think we're agreed there. It's at their second unity pick of the week. We're all on the same there. The Bengals cover this one. So we move on. Next game up, the Steelers travel to Cleveland. They are 3.5-point home favorites, the Browns. Both teams 3 losses each, but kind of respectable defeats to playoff contenders, so hard to know what to make of them. And personally, I could go either way on this game, so I've left it out, but I'm willing to listen to arguments on it. What do you think, PK? Browns 3.5-point home favorites.
Yeah, no, too many ifs here. I mean, Mayfield's carrying that injury that he's going to try, and I don't know, is he going to play? Is he not? Is he going to, is he going to get surgery on the end of the season? But if he takes one good hit, it could be him done. Their backup running back had a game last week, though. Their 3rd string, Dernest Johnson, is it? I mean, any man that picked him up in fantasy, very well done. But yeah, there's just too many ifs on both sides in this game, and as you said, I think it can go anyway. So yeah, leave it alone.
Guys.
Yeah, kind of similar. Like I haven't really been that pleased with what I've seen from the Steelers this season. Thought they'd be a bit better on offense. They've been decent on defense, I suppose, but I thought they would have been a lot better on offense. The Browns have their injury worries, but I think they're starting to kind of lighten up a bit. So, like Chubb is back in practice. He's still questionable whether he'll play, but he could play. You've obviously got Jarvis Landry, who looks like he could come back as well. So if they get those couple of players back, I would be siding with the Browns, but I don't think it's one we should be putting in. And it's really it's one to check kind of, an hour before the game when the injury news starts to properly filter in and you're getting the starters. If Chubb and Landry come back for the Browns, I would probably side with the Browns. If they're not there, then it would just be a no-bet game for me.
Yeah, I think we're all more or less aligned, so we'll skip over that one. Next game up, the 49ers travel to Chicago, take on the Bears. Very two tough teams. They're two teams here very tough to know what to make of. The Bears, very inconsistent. I mean, they beat the Bengals and the Raiders, and they looked really good in doing it. And then they lost to the Bucs and to the Browns, and they looked like a semi-amateur team in those defeats. So hard to know. The 49ers looked pretty good in their first two games, but then maybe the way the Eagles and the Lions have kicked on since then, it's not that impressive. 4 losses on the bounce, but then if you look at who they've lost to, the 4 losses aren't that bad. But San Francisco are 1-5 against the spread, which would tell me that they're still getting a lot of public money. 4-point road favorites in Chicago. We'll go to you first, Gary. Your 49ers, what do you think?
Like, it should be the 49ers all day long. But like, Jimmy G just doesn't look up to it really, and I've kind of been one of the 49ers fans that I've probably given him more of a chance than most, but he just hasn't shown really anything this season. I thought with Lance coming in, it would make Garoppolo kick on. He hasn't. He's obviously picked up the injury. Lance looks like he'll be back from injury, but again, you're throwing a rookie QB in just coming back from injury. There's other concerns like Deebo Samuel, who's leading receiver. He's questionable. A lot of questions around the 49ers. I do think they'll still win because I think their defense is still pretty good. And against the rookie QB and against the depleted running game of the Bears, like, I can see the 49ers winning, but they might just win by 3 points would be the fear. So happy to leave this out. 49ers by 3 would be the kind of bet I would do. PK,
before I give my 2 cents.
Yeah, I mean, two poor offenses against 2 good defenses. I think Khalil Mack is out for the Bears, so it kind of makes a bit of a difference. It kind of sways me towards the 49ers, but it's not one I want to touch for this. I mean, the over-under is 39.5, and I'm still inclined to take the under on this, and it's the lowest of the week. I don't see either of these offenses really putting up more than 20, but no, I wouldn't touch that spread for this week.
It was my number 5 pick, by the way. I lean the Bears. I think they win the game. I think if you look at their record, they're better than the poor teams, but they're a good bit worse than the best teams. So you look at their defeats: the Buccaneers, the Green Bay Packers, and the Rams, and I forget who the 4th one was. So like three of the kind of favorites in the market for the Super Bowl, that's who they've lost to. They've beaten the other teams. So I don't think they're as bad as people say, but when they're bad, they just look really bad. I don't want this to go in now because, like you said, there's a couple of injuries there, and you don't know what way they're going to go between now and Sunday. So it's not worth one taking. If this was a different week, I'd probably take the Bears +4. I will back them at the weekend, but considering the options that are on the table this weekend, it just doesn't really make sense, even just for the injuries alone across the 2 of them. I just think that 49ers still seem to get a lot of bets, considering looking at that 1-5 against the spread. I think only one team worse than them against the spread this season. So yeah, happy to skip over it.
Forgot we had a Bears fan and a 49ers fan on the other side of this.
My Bears fanship is pretty minimal now. It's not like I would be swaying my picks here.
I'm happy to have a side bet if you want.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
A little 20 quid bet.
Done. On the 4. I'd nearly give it to the money line, Gary, to be honest, but
I thought it was going to be money line since you think.
Oh yeah, cool.
We went outright, like.
Yeah, nice. We'll do it. Money line bet. 20 quid on the Bears 49ers. Easy. Right. Next one up is the misfiring Seahawks at home to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Seahawks 3-point home favorites. That line surprised me, I must say. Things not going that well for the Seahawks. They're 2-5, but all 5 of those losses have been by 3 points. So pretty close. The Jags, we know what they're like. 1 win came against the Dolphins. Are the Jags on the right track, or is this a home win, PK? What do you think? 3 points.
Yeah, I have this as my number 1. I mean, Seahawks obviously are down Russell Wilson and Chris Carson, but I mean, I've watched them. They've been primetime the last couple of weeks, I think, and I've watched them, but they haven't been that bad. Not bad enough to only be a 3-point spread against the Jags, who are still awful, right? They picked up a win in London, right? But they're just awful, and they're going to Seattle. I don't see, like, if you told me this spread was possible at the beginning of the season, I would have laughed. And to me, it's still a 7-point spread. The Seahawks aren't that bad. They aren't that bad. And Jags still are. So it's my number one pick. So yeah, I'm all in on the Seahawks in this one.
Gary.
Yeah, like, you couldn't take the Jags in there. I'd say PK could play quarterback for the Seahawks and they could probably still win. So yeah, I agree with everything you
Thanks.
said.
You haven't seen my throw name, Gary, but yeah.
Yeah, this is my number 5 pick.
Gino Smith, though.
I don't think, like, if you look at it, I said all 5 of their losses were by 3 points. I just checked that 4 of the 5 have been by 3. So the Titans, the Rams beat them by, I think, 9. That was the only one that wasn't 3 points. The Steelers, the Saints, the Vikings, the Titans all just scraped it. So I don't think they're that bad, like you said. And I think that the Jags are just awful. So lean from Gary and a pick from me and PK. So I'd say this one is going to go in. So this is another one that looks like a nice and easy kind of agreement on that line. The next one up is, making all of that, is the Patriots travel to Los Angeles. They take on the Chargers. Things were looking rosy for the Chargers, but then they got blowout defeat at Baltimore. Still 4-2 straight up and 4-2 against the spread. Patriots are 3-4, but they've only beaten the fodder, really. They've beaten the Texans and the Jets twice. So I'm not sure what you can make of those 3 wins. But then on the flip side, they lost to Tampa by 2 points and they pushed the Cowboys to overtime. So playing well against the big boys, but losing and beating the teams that they be expected to beat. 5-point home favorites, the Chargers. Gary, what do you think of that?
Chargers all day long. I just think that they're going to be roiled from their performance last time out, coming in off the back of a bye, isn't it? The only doubt in my mind is that Austin Eckler is questionable, so he didn't train or practice on Thursday or Friday. So if he was out, you could kind of go, okay, are they going to have a run game? Who's going to come in? Someone like Josh Kelly or something like that. But I still think they'd have enough if they were just throwing the ball through the air. I think they'll rack up a score, and I can't see the Patriots being able to keep up with them. So, yeah, all day long with the Chargers.
PK, 5 points for the Patriots.
I'm with Gary on this one. I have them as my number 5 pick. I just think, as Gary said, they're going to have a point to prove after the blowout against the Ravens, and they're in off the back of a bye week. I mean, the Pats haven't done anything. Well, they've played a couple of good, decent performances against the Cowboys and the Bucks, but like, they haven't won them, and they've only beaten, I mean, the worst of the worst, the rags of the league. Like, so, yeah, in LA as well. I'm all over the Chargers here at that line.
Yeah, it was my number 4 pick, Chargers as well. The Cowboys game, like, I watched that game. Actually watched that the horse racing track. It was great, but I watched it go to overtime, and the Cowboys just kept letting the Patriots back in. They weren't. You could just tell there was a gulf between them. So I think you can take that one with a pinch of salt. And then the talk about that Tampa Bay game, like, that was a huge game for Belichick and the Patriots. So I don't think you can really take too much out of that one either. Like you said, the wins count for almost nothing. So that's another consensus pick. We're all in there. Chargers going straight in. That brings us on to the 2-5 Washington football team against the 3-3 Broncos here, or even 3-4. Apologies. Broncos flattered to deceive, 3 early wins, and now they've lost 4 on the bounce. They are 3-point home favorites against Washington. So we'll go back to UPK. Where do you see this one going?
In my mind, the line is just right on this one. I mean, Washington, just like, the last couple of seasons, they've lived on their defense, and it's just not there this year. I mean, they're conceding lots in every game. So, I mean, yeah, the Broncos they've imploded much like the Panthers since, but not as bad. But since their easy opening. I remember one on week 4 we were talking about if there was a real deal, and that's been answered. I think the line is about right here against two bad teams, and I want to leave it alone.
Okay, skip for you, Gary. Where do you go on this one? 3.5 points picking up on the road.
Yeah, like I would actually probably side with Washington here, but I agree with PK. The line is probably right. I think it's a bit of a coin toss. I do like Heineke. I think he's going to be a decent quarterback. But I think we've said before on this show about quarterbacks going to mile high, draw a rookie quarterback in there, and the Broncos defense on their day are actually quite good, so that could swing the tables. But I have a sneaky feeling that the Washington will win this. I'll probably put them in a little money line accumulator personally, but I think it's too dodgy to put into something as important as this.
It's exactly my thoughts. I've got them flagged here in amber. I lean Washington. Don't go in this week because there's way better lines out there, but they will definitely be part of my money line. That's why I laughed. There's a few teams I like for upsets, and the football team are definitely one of them, but there's just way too many reasons to not put them in this. So a couple of leans there, but we'll move swiftly on down to the last 3 now. Some big team names coming up here. The Bucks go to New Orleans. Tampa Bay 6-1, probably most people's favorite for the Super Bowl. I'm not sure what they are in the market, but you've got to imagine they're favorites, if not very close to it. The Saints are doing okay. They're 4-2. Not really any impressive wins in that 4, other than the initial Green Bay demolition. But again, there's a lot of excuses for that one. I initially liked the Saints here, by the way. They're 5-point home underdogs, but I've since softened on this and I've left it out. But we'll go back to you, Gary. Where do you see this one? The Bucks laying 5.5 points in New Orleans.
Yeah, I think you have to be with the Bucks here, personally. I know the defense has given up quite a few yards, but the defense will also know Jameis Winston inside out. I think that they'll rack up a score on offense because they've got such a good offense. So yeah, I can see them winning this by more than 5. It doesn't make my top 5. It's probably about 7th on my list. But I pick the Bucks if I had to pick one.
All right, PK, where do you stand on this one?
Yeah, I think this could be a battle of defense. Like I watched the Saints against the Seahawks. It was an attritional game, but their defense was unbelievable. Demario Davis, linebacker, is just everywhere. Obviously the Bucks are quite a better unit than the Seahawks currently, but if they can put it up to them like that again, I mean, it'll make a game of it. But the Bucks are what I don't even know what their average is this season, but I think it's 30 plus probably scoring wise. I don't think the Saints can keep up with that, especially with the Bucks defense being as good as it is. I'd be inclined to take the Bucks, but it's I think it's about 7 on my list, so I definitely wouldn't be putting it in for this.
Look at their points scored. It's 31, 45, 24, 19, 45, 28, 38. So monstrous scores there. I think we'll just move off this. There's good lines out there, and none of us really want it in, so we can move off. Second to last game, the late game on Sunday, we've got the Dallas Cowboys travel to Minnesota. Cowboys 6-0 against the spread, just one defeat in the opening game to Tampa Bay. The Vikings 3-3. Quirk that I seem to think is that they cover when they're the favorites, but not really as dogs. Gary, what do you think here? They're 1.5 home underdogs, the Minnesota Vikings against the Cowboys.
Yeah, I think you have to be impressed with what the Cowboys have done in the last number of weeks. And I wasn't a believer at the start of the season. I'm coming around to start believing now. So I had it in as being a pick for me for the Cowboys. The fear would be, I know Dak Prescott has a calf injury and he's questionable. So, they're leading the division. They're 5-1. The next place is the Washington football team, 2-5. So, would you risk Dak if he's not fully fit and end up putting him out for a couple of games? That would be, or definitely just be putting the ball on the ground to try and like ease it off and not put him under too much pressure. So that's kind of what's in the back of my head around it. And if it got 50-50, we could leave it out because of that. But I think he probably will play. And if he plays, I can see the Cowboys winning.
Did you see his quotes during the week? That I want to play, but it's not my choice. So I kind of thought that when I first saw this, I thought the Cowboys would be 6-point favorites, 4 at least, probably 6. I saw 1.5. I thought, what am I missing? And obviously, it's that Dak Prescott. Will he play? Won't he play? Obviously, if he plays, that 1.5 is going to look like free money. But like you said, the sensible thing is not to play him. You know, they can lose this game and it changes nothing really for them. And then when he said that it's not my choice, it kind of makes me think that there's been conversations and he's been told that he probably won't play if he's not 100%. So I don't know. It's one of my picks. I still think that even with the question marks there, I think they're so much better than the Vikings that I like it. But what do you reckon, PK? 1.5 for the Cowboys?
Yeah, I'm inclined to think that it's a bit like generous as well. I had it as maybe a 4 to 5 point spread in my head. I mean, the Vikings aren't bad. And the Cowboys have a bad, like they're one of the worst teams in the league against wide receivers, and Minnesota have a good wide receiver unit. Like I have Thielen marked for anytime touchdown bet too, but yeah, I don't like everything I've seen this week. It kind of implies that Prescott will play. When you say it doesn't mean anything this game, it doesn't mean anything divisionally, but number 1 seed means a lot this year, and I don't see why any team wouldn't be gunning for it. It's the most it's ever meant. So, I mean, I think you go to win every game, and like I think if you don't put Dak in here, I think it swings it quite a bit in this game because the Vikings aren't a bad team. So, yeah, I think Dak plays, and
I get that argument, but I also think that like it has to be in the back of the mind the injury last year and how bad they were without him. So, do you take a 1-game hit to have him fully fit for the rest of the season? Personally, I would, and I know you're probably giving up number 1 seed, but I don't think the Cowboys are good enough to get number 1 seed anyway. So I'd be looking at it from that perspective. Maybe I'm just not.
No, and it's a fair because the NFC is so like tough as well that is a fair thing to say, but I just don't think at this stage of the season they really want a chance giving away a game. Like anything could happen. We're only like coming up to halfway through, so you know you really don't want to be given the chance of giving up games. You want to start your best team, I think. So I'm inclined to think Prescott plays, and if they're winning by enough after 3, they set him then. But
the other
thing, at 1.5,
it was a strain as well, so he could actually be fine on Sunday. You know, so it's not
Everything I've seen and read implies that he's fine. So I don't see. I think he plays, but it makes me inclined to take this line too. But I mean I have it like number 6. So
okay, I have it. Let me check what my ranking is. I had it as my number 3, but then I've softened on it when I've seen that news. So it was I liked it. I think we'll see how we go in this last game, and then this will either be our 5th or our 6th pick. We've got a lot of alignment already. Monday Night Football, PK, this will be to you. The New York Giants travel to Kansas. Kansas City, very poor this season by their own standards, and I think the Giants are just very poor by any measure that you can think of. 9.5 points at home they're giving up to New York Giants. Where do you see this one going, PK? Is that too high? Are they trading on their yesteryear, or are they going to win comfortably?
Oh, that absolute line is on yesteryear and potential. Like, you know, we're all like, as a Chiefs fan, everyone's like, oh, they'll turn it on at some stage, but we don't win this game and the season's probably over. I can't touch it. You can't trust the Chiefs at the moment. They're likely to make the Giants look good here. You know, just hand the ball off to them. But it's not one I could touch for this. Obviously, I think the Chiefs will win, and I'm hoping they win, but it's not something I'm willing to put money on that line. Not a hope.
Okay, interesting. Gary, where do you see this one? 9.5 points to the New York Giants.
Yeah, similar. I don't know. I haven't seen injury news about Mahomes, so I know he cleared concussion, and I assume whatever was wrong with his leg wasn't that bad because he limped off. So if Mahomes plays, yeah, I think the Chiefs will cover. I think the Giants are probably flattered by how bad the Panthers were last week. And if I think if the Panthers had beaten the Giants, this could have been a 14 or 15 pointer as well. But then, as PK said, like the Chiefs have been terrible. So I would put it in if we hadn't got, like, if it came to a decision to put it in, if it was our 5th pick or whatever, I'd lean towards putting it in. But I do think there's probably others stronger. There's definitely 4 others in my mind stronger. And then you're down to, it comes into the discussion, but probably doesn't make it.
That's it for me. It was an orange pick, so it was, I like it, but it didn't make the 5. And now that I've softened a bit on the Cowboys, and I ended up taking the Bears out, it's actually floating around my 5th pick there. Like Kansas, okay, they scored 3 against the Titans. That was an absolute car crash, and you have to take it that that was just a one-off. I mean, did they lose here? If they don't win here, then there's much deeper problems. But if you look back through their record here, so the Browns, they scored 33, the Ravens, they scored 35, 24 against the Chargers, 42 against the Eagles, 20 against the Bills, 31 last week. It's 2 weeks ago. So they're racking up big scores, and their problems are defensively. And I don't think the Giants can cause them problems defensively. I think, like you said, they're going to, there's serious talent there. It's just something's not right. And I think it's either season over or they bounce back against the after that defeat to the Titans.
There isn't a team in the NFL that can't cause the Chiefs problems defensively at the moment. The Chiefs cause themselves problems defensively. They turn the ball over, and all of a sudden they're giving pick sixes and great field position away. So it's the Chiefs that need to stop doing what they're doing, more so than any team going there and beating them.
Okay, so that for me is an orange pick. Gary seems to be similar, and PK, you don't like it. My suspicion is maybe as a fan, you've got a slight little bit of, you're feeling it worse than maybe objectively others might be feeling that those KC bad results.
For sure. And if it's a pick you want to put in, I'll go with it, because obviously I want the Chiefs to beat them by as much as possible. So I'll cheer that on all day.
Okay, so let's run through this pretty quickly, right? We're all locked on the Titans, the Bengals, the Seahawks, and the Chargers. So three picks each, or 4 picks, 3 people, all of those, full agreement. And then we've got 3 that we're kind of soft on. So we've got the Rams, the Cowboys, and the Kansas City Chiefs that we are battling it out for our 5th place pick. So just one more time, the Kansas City Chiefs, 9.5 points. They need to beat the Giants by. We have the Rams, who are, where are they gone? They're 14.5 point favorites against the Titans. And then we got the Cowboys, 1.5 point favorites against the Vikings with some potential injury question marks. So we will go to our esteemed guest, PK, first. Which of those 3 would you pick if you had to put one in? Chiefs, Rams, or Cowboys?
We may have some technical issues with PK, do we?
Apologies. I it's like a work call. I was on mute. I apologize.
Oh, no. Oh God.
Yeah.
PK's
I'm still a novice. I'm still a novice somehow. Only added a year and a half. Have to go with my rankings. So the Rams are my pick. I know it's a very high line, but I have them as one of my picks. So I'm gonna stick with it.
Gary. Chiefs,
yeah,
Rams,
I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna agree. I think there's question marks over Dak, and even though he's likely to play, as PK said, I think the Rams are probably the safe play, even though it is a big spread. So yeah, happy for the Rams to go in.
Right. Well, I've lost the debate. I was going to go to Cowboys, but I'm still happy with the Rams.
I expected the 2 of you to go the Chiefs there, but so I was like, okay,
do you know what?
2 of you go Chiefs, I'm fine, but.
The Chiefs, only because in the 3 that, like you said, stick with the original rankings, and we've made a few mistakes on this show where we've changed last minute. I like the Cowboys all week. I did like the Chiefs, but the Cowboys were my first of those 3, and then Cowboys, Rams, Chiefs in that order. I'm happy to go with the Rams here. And the thing is, I've actually put a question mark beside the Cowboys. When you're so off, when your expectations are so off to what the bookies have, you have to think, what am I missing here? That's actually what I've written down. What am I missing? So we take the Rams.
That's what got me with the Titans too, though. How that line moves so much, because we've seen the bookies taking massive handles on certain other lines, and they haven't moved. And we've questioned why they haven't moved. And this one's moved a lot. It's moved 3.5 points, and I don't get it. Is there something we're missing?
Probably. Probably. Okay, so we're unison then on our unity picks on the Rams as well. I mean, if you look at it right there, they're so much better than Texans, and the bounce back factor that you talked about, Gary, when you were looking at it, I think that it's
the
it's
Texans' lack of scoring power against what is arguably one of the best defenses in the league, it should come into play like as well.
I don't see them slipping up like they did 2 weeks, after the Baltimore game. And then, like you said, I just don't think the Rams, even if the Rams put in the biggest performance they can put in, I don't see how they trouble them here. So I think we're all pretty happy on this one. We have a comment in, from Lehman, but I actually don't think it's very hard to read.
Yeah, so it's not NFL related. I was actually going to call it out. So Lehman is a happy Nottingham Forest supporter. So Cooper being the manager, so he's obviously happy with that last minute equaliser tonight, and thinks Forest are going to go back to where they belong. So the Tricky Trees fans are happy.
Oh, congratulations! I'm a simple man, and when I'm looking at something out of context, it takes me an awful long time to figure out what's being talked about. So I was looking at kind of confused.
Just as well, we have an EFL expert on the panel as well.
Oh, yeah. Our English football extraordinaire. Right, so I think that's it picked now. We got the Titans, the Rams, the Bengals, the Seahawks, and the Chargers. A nice spread there, home and away. Mostly favourites, but that's the way we've leaned. And pretty good week. So I think realistically, we really want to be getting 5 this week. It's a good week. I think there'll be a lot of people score well. And we do need to pick up a couple of points on the leader. So that's fingers crossed we get a good week this time. We've had a lot of good picks on the show, but we seem to turn our short list into our picks, and we seem to lose a few winners and keep in the losers. So, right. Yeah. Any closing thoughts, guys? Game you're going to watch, bet of the weekend. But to you, Gary, first. What game are you watching and what are you backing?
To be quite honest, I probably won't get to see any of the games on Sunday because I'm at Aston Villa versus West Ham in Birmingham, so I might stay up and watch Monday Night Football, though it's a pretty bad game, the Giants KC, but yeah, it'll be a catch-up Monday for me watching the highlights of the games. I actually think that I haven't picked out a player, but to PK's point, the Chiefs defense is so bad. I think there'll have to be value in some of the Giants wide receivers to get a touchdown. So I haven't picked one out yet, but that's the angle I'll be looking at, and need to do a bit more research later on tonight. My article will be up on the site at some stage tomorrow then. So leaning towards that game as having a best bet feel to it.
Very good. And PK, what game are you watching and what game are you backing?
Watch wise, I like the Bucks and the Saints. I think obviously is the divisional ramifications there, and it's a good matchup.
I feel like their games are always pretty entertaining. Those that head to head.
Yeah, the Saints give them 2 good beatings in the regular season last season, and then lost them in the playoffs, right? So I mean, I think it's just an interesting game. A couple of things like whatever this white guy is, it's starting at the quarterback for the Jets. I mean, the Bengals. I mean, can you find a market for them to score pick 6? Probably worth a wee go, or plus 1.5 interceptions. And anytime touchdown for Thielen. I think the Cowboys give up quite a bit to wide receivers, and that Diggs guy is probably going to be covering Van Jefferson. Thielen has one of the best pair of hands in the league. I think he's highly underrated in that regard. So I think he's not a bad anytime touchdown bet.
Nice. I like it. For me, the game I'm probably going to watch, I'm undecided. It'll probably be the 49ers Bears game, not because it's going to be the best game. It's going to be anything but it's the one that I'm most curious about to see how my prediction is going to go. And then in terms of the bets, I'm undecided really. I don't actually have any. I've been looking at other sports for the weekend for my betting, but I'll probably tail the two of you guys. I'll certainly tell Gary's ACA on the website, and I like the Thielen one that you've thrown out there as well, PK. So I'll be taking a look at both of those.
In all likelihood, the game of the weekend was on last night. It was a great game. Obviously, for people at home or in the UK or Ireland, it's a bad time. It's nearly impossible to watch it live, but it was great. Well, it was a to and fro game and a mad ending to it too. So
I was working late, so I actually missed the first 3 quarters of it, but the final quarter was full of entertainment anyway. So it was a certainly exciting one to watch. Right. Well, look, guys, we're at the end of the show. So thank you, everyone who stuck with us for the NFL content and the comments. It's been a long all night, probably 3 and a bit hours now at this stage on here. It's been a very enjoyable show. We've got our picks set, so we'll submit those, and I will make sure to evidence to the team that I've submitted them this week, and we will cheer these on over the weekend. And
did we mention your boo-boo? We did.
We addressed it last week, that someone didn't submit the picks, but luckily only cost us 1 point instead of costing us 5. So a lucky escape for whoever that guy was who missed the picks. But look, thanks everyone for watching. Like the videos, subscribe to us, follow us, depending on what the platform is. It makes a huge difference. We really appreciate the input and the feedback. So do that, and we will see you next week. PK, thanks as always. Appreciate your input. Pleasure to have you on.
Yeah, my pleasure, lads. Thank you.
Yeah,
and we'll see you next week. Enjoy the football, Gary, and we'll see you all same place, same time, 7:30 next Friday.